Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the opening part to a new What If Goku had SCP-682'S adaptability. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jit. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
In this What If, Goku is going to have the adaptation powers of SCP-682. To wrap this up well, I think he should also be granted the ability of him manipulating his body as he sees fit. It does kind of fit into the category of adaptation since he could change his body to fit a certain scenario, so he does get that ability as well. As for the other abilities that are just overpowered and not really related to adaptability, they won't be included. Things like reality warping, which are mainly the powers of something called SCP-682'A from my research. That is almost a different form of the being from being attacked and almost killed many times. Also, it seems that SCP-682 gained a lot more abilities throughout his life, so it's hard to draw a line on what abilities he has or doesn't and to what degree he has such abilities. I will apply immortality alongside the superhuman physical characteristics that this reptile has as well. What changes here is that Goku is born with a slightly higher power level. SCP-682 to begin with isn't like Dragon Ball Super levels of strength, but is clearly above average. Average for a human, that is. Therefore, I'll give him a solid power level of 250 to begin with, making him a solid prospect as a kid for a low-class Saiyan. Somebody like Bardock birthing a child of this level of strength is almost weird. Therefore, Goku is stored in the pods where Vegeta was stored as a kid. This is where the strongest Saiyans stay, being watched over by high-level officials. These kids are obviously treated very seriously, since they could be used as powerful warriors for the Saiyan race. Bardock though envisions something terrible, the death of all the Saiyans. No matter who he tries to convince, his word is not heard, he must take things into his own hands. With Goku now out of the nursing capsule, he sends him off planet and saves his life. He is immediately apprehended once they notice that he's been sent away, since the state usually have strong control over what happens to kids like him. However, it's too late, only hours later they all perish at the hands of Frieza. Goku arrives on Earth and is strugglingly managed by Gohan. With him so strong, he does get hurt and things as he tries to contain him, but he does slowly get better as time passes. With so much power, Grandpa Gohan is keen on getting him to start training to harness that raw strength that he has. As he is training though, something weird happens. He slips into a large hole in a forest, but instead of just letting himself fall, he tries to reach for the edge to catch himself. He is far too late and the edge of this hole starts receding away from him quite fast. However, his will to grab onto that edge is still there, and as he does so, his arm elongates to grab onto it. As he pulls, his arm also shortens and almost catapults him out of this hole. This is very weird and shocking to him, since he's never seen any animal or Grandpa Gohan do that. Reaching for an adjacent tree that is just out of arm's reach, he sees that his arm just extends to grab it. Looking at his hand, he then enlarges it to the size of his whole torso, making himself laugh. "Would you look at this," he says, amazed by this ability of his. After this, he starts incorporating the manipulation of his body into his fighting style, like Luffy from One Piece. He can jump higher by jumping, while increasing the length of his legs and grows physically stronger as he grows his body. It does affect his speed as he grows very large though. It's still useful to have so many tricks up his sleeve. He can even grow eyes on different parts of his body to increase his field of view. Soon though, Grandpa Gohan is killed as he turns into an Uzaru, and this leaves Goku alone until Bulma arrives. His power level is now 350, mainly from solitary training. He decides to head with Bulma on the adventure of searching for the Dragon Balls, and so they end up doing that. Since Goku is so strong, there's little that can be done to stop them. One interesting thing is that when Pilaf tries to use the sleeping gas on them, Goku's body becomes immune to that gas as it enters his system. This then allows him to gain the Dragon Balls for his friends, and the arc ends soon after. There's no need for him to even look up at the moon. After this, there's the training saga with Master Roshi. He does learn the Kamehameha wave from Roshi after just seeing it once, and his first energy wave is bigger than Roshi's biggest ever. It's very powerful, strong enough to destroy the moon, and it luckily misses as it enters space. Roshi too has a main role of teaching Goku to control this power that he has, while giving him knowledge on other things like technique. Goku grows from this teaching quite a lot and his power level grows to 450. Krillin feels bummed out to be so far behind Goku, but continues training hard as he doesn't want to just be left behind completely. This means he's stronger than he was initially and given a new flame to continue training and fighting. However, Goku sweeps through the whole tournament and claims the trophy for himself. Master Roshi makes him work with his buff form, but it still doesn't mean much in the end. The win is Goku shortly after. Following this is the Red Ribbon Army Saga, with Goku so strong by this point, already at Dragon Ball Z power levels of strength, they can't do much to him. Along with his versatile body manipulation, he can use several different things like hardening his skin by making it metal and other unique things, instead of just using brute force to take them down. What follows is the Fortune Teller Baba Saga. Goku is more than pleased to see Grandpa Gohan again, and also his adopted father is happy to see how much he's grown. Even with nobody really as strong as him to prove a proper challenge, he's taken training into his own hands and still made considerable progress on his own. Following this, we have the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Tien is confident going into this battle, and him along with Goku breeze their way through to the finals. Goku is confident and not at all scared of Tien here. He believes in his school and his own abilities. Making his stance, the match begins. Tien rushes forward, thrusting forward his fist for an opening punch. Goku just slips past it and rolls forward, before turning and blocking a downwards kick aimed at his head. As Tien lands this kick, it feels like his arm is made of complete steel. It's quite a humbling feeling as he lands that hit, since he was not expecting him to feel that tough. However, he doesn't let those thoughts get to him and continues confidently with the match. Rushing forward with an explosive combination of punches, Goku either blocks or evades each punch like they're nothing. The way he catches the punches and parries them with just his fingers and somewhat light taps makes it much more humiliating for Tien. He starts getting angry and wants to get some respect back on his name. Stepping back, he shoots off his tri-beam. Those watching are fascinated with the flying blast's power, but Goku shows no fear. Lifting his hands and turning his skin to concrete, the blast flies off and doesn't really feel like much to him. As it's over, he continues with yet another tri-beam to try and break him down with repeated blasts. The blast isn't something that he can repeat very well though, his ki just isn't great enough for that. Therefore, he steps back and rethinks of a strategy after noticing that playing the long game will be futile. He launches a full power energy wave after swiftly stepping to the side, cackling as he believes he's caught Goku with an awkward angle. However, his hand enlarges and he grabs the blast, pushing it back with an elongating arm. His arm continues to extend until the blast is just in front of Tien. Bailing with his blast and leaping out the way, he just about evades the incoming blast. After rolling numerous times, Tien starts to get a little concerned. How is this kid so strong? Goku just bundles his massive hand into a fist and strikes him down to the ground. Tien grunts in pain and receives another slam to floor him again. He slowly raises, really hurt by those last two attacks and beyond humiliated. Before he can act again, Goku lengthens his leg almost like a projectile and shoots his foot into his gut, launching him off the ring. Goku has triumphed over Tien and is now the victor a second year in a row. Goku celebrates his win with his friends and goes on to forget his things at the tournament yet again. Krillin offers to go and retrieve his things, only to be slain by Tambourine. Goku heads over to the area after seeing his friend not returning and is horrified to see his dead body here. Finding Tambourine here too, he pounces and can't even hold back his anger. Enlarging his fist and arm, he shoots it forward like a cannon and crushes Tambourine's head with the initial strike. Blood comes oozing down the side of his head and he hasn't got much longer. Goku finishes him off by extending his leg that's aimed backward. He doesn't extend the leg involved with the kick, but being pushed off by an extending leg makes his strike more deadly. Taking this kick straight to his chest, Tambourine is gone. Taking the Dragon Ball, he rushes away to inform his friends of what's happened. Returning, King Piccolo deploys his second son, Symbol, to continue the work that his brother could not. Symbol arrives where Yajirobe is, but just ends up getting slaughtered by him. He's very strong in his own right at this point, so isn't someone to be messed around with. After this, King Piccolo decides to take things into his own hands. Landing ahead of Goku, he stands menacingly. "So you're the kid trying to foil my plans," King Piccolo says, looking down at him with disdain. Goku doesn't even reply and just makes his stance, pulling his right fist back quite far. "Cannon punch," he roars as his hand enlarges. As it grows, he extends his arm and covers his knuckles in rough concrete. Slamming it into King Piccolo, he breaks several of his ribs while making his internal organs rupture. Falling back, dark blood comes oozing from his mouth. King Piccolo tries to attack, but as he steps forward, he topples and falls to his feet. Crawling, he can feel his body getting weaker and weaker. Kami on the lookout can also feel this growing weakness. After he stops moving, Goku thinks the job is done and runs away at top speed, leaving a trail of dust in his wake. Across from them though, the Dragon Balls have been gathered by Master Roshi and Tien. Yamcha and Chaozu are also there as the sky darkens in the presence of Shenron. Here they have to be quite smart with this mission. My life won't remain for much longer. I recommend that you choose your wish as quickly as you can. This is when they realise what's happened. Goku has gotten to King Piccolo. Kami is fine, but that must mean their lives are tied. Therefore, they wish for Kami to assimilate King Piccolo so that they can become one. All Shenron has to do here is perform the Namekian fusion and the nameless Namekian is born once again. Piccolo is here, just in a slightly different way. He can feel this sense of darkness that has entered him, but it hasn't really affected his mindset at all. He is still the benevolent god of Earth as usual. However, what is strikingly different about him is his power level. His power level reaches all the way up to 25,000. That seems like a nice place to put him after Guru's comment on the Nameless Namekian's father being on the level of Super Saiyans. By saying this Nameless Namekian could only be defeated by a Super Saiyan and not an ordinary Saiyan doesn't really say much, but we know for a fact that he was stronger than around a 10,000 power level for Guru to say this. With Kami also in an older state, I think this power level is more valid. Goku is taken right under Kami's wing, and now that he is so strong, he won't easily beat him in battle. This gives Goku a great partner to train with in the hyperbolic time chamber. Since Goku's adaptation abilities are so advanced, his body goes through great changes in this chamber. First of all, in seconds he can feel himself getting used to the thin air here. Kami explains to him the harsh conditions, but it soon feels completely fine. As Goku starts fighting Kami, it's clear that he's the weaker fighter. However, even though he is weaker, Kami soon struggles to hurt him in any substantial way. As he hurts him too, he grows and gets stronger in two ways. His natural ability to adapt gives him an increase in strength as an adaptation. Alongside this, his Zenkai also plays a part if the injuries incurred are sufficient. After this training in the hyperbolic time chamber, his power level has already increased past Kami's, reaching 35,000. Not only that, but his body has adapted to take powerful punches and he now only gets hurt by a person much stronger than himself. That is something he didn't really get exposed to, so his body hasn't adapted to that scenario. Goku is now older and much stronger. Training outside of the chamber with Kami to train his ki and other things, his power level reaches further and to 50,000 from this. Kami has also been training himself, so his power isn't at all stagnant. His power level has grown to 35,000 from training with Goku in that time, and he decides to participate in the World Tournament to try and face Goku there. Therefore, since these two are way stronger than everyone else, they cruise through to the finals with very little challenge. Those like Yamcha and Tien are left in awe at his power. His speed is so great that they can't even track him. This is all with heavily weighted clothing as well. His power level is more like 15,000 when he is wearing all this heavy gear, and Kami's is like 12,000. However, as they meet each other in the finals, they wish to go all out. Here's a lighter uniform for you, Kami says, pointing at him. His body glows with purple light for a split second before he is back in his usual orange gi. Kami also takes off his weighted clothing that looks like the white clothing that Piccolo wears. This leaves him with a more battle-tailored form of his God of Earth attire. Let's see what I can do, Kami says, dropping into his stance. The match begins and Kami rushes right off toward Goku. He tries to trick him with an after image and resorts to using multiple to disorient him. Since their power levels aren't as far apart, it isn't that easy for him to track his movements. However, as time passes, he can find his eyes growing sharper and he no longer just looks like a blur. Kami comes rushing in with a kick to his head, but he catches it before landing a punch to his chin. He then clips Kami with an elbow to his chin, but misses with the front kick that he shoots out right after. Kami steps back to evade before continuing with the battle. As they trade blows and exchange punches and kicks, Goku slowly starts to get the upper hand. His greater stamina and durability mean that he can fight at full pelt throughout the battle and receive basically no injury from Kami. Kami performs an elegant backflip, landing tens of meters away from Goku before charging his own full power energy wave. Firing it off toward Goku, he meets it with his own Super Kamehameha. The collision of these energy waves is akin to that of an explosion at the center of the ring. The two energies push at each other vehemently, and Goku's blast soon gets the upper hand. Kami is left to grab the blast, using all his strength to try and push it back. In his older frame, he feels frustrated at how quickly his muscles are giving in. In just a few tens of seconds, Kami is thrown right out the ring. The elimination leaves Goku as the 3-in-a-row winner of the World Tournament. Unlike before with the other enemies that he just squashed easily, the crowd is very pleased with the final match they were given. Both fighters were at a similar level and it wasn't clear who was going to win at the start. Even if Goku started gaining the edge, it was great to see Kami continue to fight back and try to get that win himself. After this, Goku takes these 5 years with Chi-Chi and Gohan to rest. Goku's power level reaches up slightly to 51,000 from some light training throughout these years, but he's mostly spending time with his son. As Gohan is born, Goku can see that he has some of his own abilities. He sees Gohan extend one of his limbs, like in canon, and can see that he can manipulate his body in similar ways. Goku is intrigued by this and wants to see just how much like him he is as they grow up. Raditz soon arrives on Earth and catches note of a strong power level in the distance. Murdering the innocent farmer, he arrives at the Kame house to meet his brother Goku. Gohan is behind him with fear, and Raditz feels a little confused to find that the power level he read was coming from the boy and not Goku. His power level is 524 and he's just a little child. This makes Raditz a little confused and spooked out. However, he throws it behind him because Goku's power level is just 400 right now. He won't be a problem at all. After they converse for some time, they start to figure out what's been happening here. Goku isn't from their planet and is not a human, but instead a Saiyan from a planet far away that is now destroyed. Raditz is eager to make Goku complete his wish of destroying these humans on Earth, but Goku is absolutely unwilling to do so. That's when Raditz chooses to use Goku's son to try and get him to do what he believes is something he must do. As Raditz goes out and tries to grab Gohan, this is when Goku's power level flares up. He doesn't want to reveal his odd powers to this person claiming to be his brother and just shoves him back. His power level has risen to 20,000 and Raditz is launched right into the water. This sudden hit is kind of surprising to him. It makes him almost believe the power level that he saw, but no. He was just caught off guard. How could his brother have such a power level when his is only 1,500? To him it just makes no sense whatsoever. Therefore, as he raises from the waters, he shoots up then launches his double sundae down towards the island. Goku steps forward and catches these two blasts, making sure they explode in front of him to save his friends from the damage. As the smoke clears, Raditz sees that nothing has happened and has eyes of pure shock. In this moment, he doesn't really know what to do. Will more ki blasts even work? Is that 20,000 power level true? As his man continues to race with rapid thoughts, Goku leaps up there and hits him in the face, punching him into the sky. He ascends in a large arc that covers several kilometers before he crashes into a grassland, sent rolling more than 40 meters. Goku then flies over there, covering this distance in almost an instant to arrive by his side. I don't want to have to kill you, but you threatened my son. I will not hurt anyone on this planet and I'll be forced to take you down if you do here, Goku shouts out. Raditz coughs out blood, holding his broken and dislocated jaw in agony. Crawling away from Goku almost as a reflex, he suddenly gains the strength to speak. Don't worry, Saiyans, way stronger than me, will come here and destroy you, Raditz roars. Goku hears this and isn't happy with such a threat. I'm only the beginning, Raditz claims, continuing to crawl back. Just as Goku is going to leave him here to think about what he's done, he receives an energy wave straight to his back. Raditz laughs upon seeing this, knowing that was a clear hit. However, only Goku's gi has scorched and he just turns around to stare him down. I gave you a second chance, Goku shouts. And I don't care about that. I'll complete your mission whether you like it or not, Raditz shouts, clicking his jaw back into place. Cackling with the brazen mind of a warrior Saiyan, he prepares to fly off, but Goku knows what he must do. Elongating his arm, he grabs him before he can leave to then slam him into the floor. He then enlarges his other fist until it's bigger than his whole body and starts striking Raditz with the side of his fist. Each hit breaks the ground slightly and the damage greatens after each repetition. Soon enough, Raditz is no longer moving and is gone. Goku feels quite bad that he had to resort to such violence, but many more people would have suffered. After hearing this, Goku also makes sure that his friends train well. Two Saiyans much stronger than even him are coming to Earth and they have to be ready. Kami takes part in this training, trying to pass down his wisdom to people like Gohan and anyone else that would benefit from it. The person that makes the most growth here is Gohan, of course. With his father's talent and being weaker than everyone else, it gives him a chance to grow when he fights a lot. By the end of this training period, Goku's power level has grown to 95,000 and Kami's is at a solid 50,000. Gohan's has risen all the way up to 35,000 and the humans have benefited from facing such strong people too. Tien's is 3,000, Krillin's 2,800 and Yamcha's is 2,500. Chaozu's is 2,000, much higher than it was in canon. Upon feeling the arrival of these warriors, everybody feels ready. They've trained as much as they could and have advanced not just their power but skills as well. They stand fearlessly in the face of these warriors, ready to battle. Nappa and Vegeta arrive, staring them all down menacingly. These two didn't come here for any Dragon Ball, as those weren't mentioned. They came here instead from interest. They saw a high power level being recorded from Raditz's scouter and wished to see what that was about. The two don't believe it for a second. They know that Goku surpassed his brother, but to reach a power level of 20,000 is complete nonsense. A power level of 2,000, I can see why you beat your brother, but it seems like his scouter was playing up quite a bit. Nappa, lay waste to these vermin, Vegeta orders. Gladly, Nappa says, cracking his knuckles as he approaches. Don't worry Goku, we've got this, Krillin says, stepping forward. Tien, Yamcha and Chaozu all step forward together, readying themselves for the fight. Nappa charges straight at him, launching Krillin into a rock wall before receiving a punch to his face from Tien. Before he can turn to give his attention to him, he receives a spirit ball to his back from Yamcha. Just as he turns around to face Chaozu, he leaps at him only to receive a tri-beam straight to his back. The humans continue working together, not just using their power but chemistry to try and keep Nappa at bay. They catch him by surprise at times when he's not taking them seriously, and he can land some good attacks on them, but that's when he's had enough. Powering up to the very maximum, his armor blows off, then he grabs Yamcha to throw him to the ground. Just this single attack knocks him out. As for the other warriors, they are dismantled in a flash and they can't put up any fight. Nappa looks to finish these beings off and launches a ki blast at Yamcha's body, however Gohan appears and swats it away like it's nothing. Your fight is with me now, Gohan exclaims. Okay then kiddo, Nappa says with a patronizing voice. Gohan then lets his power loose, his power level starts to climb and his anger at seeing his friends hurt like this only makes him stronger. That's when Vegeta starts to look shocked. Is his scouter broken too? 13,000, 14,000, 18,000, 25,000. This must be a fluke. He grabs his scouter and throws it to the ground, crushing it with a stomp. The act of rage makes Nappa confused. He can't immediately figure out why he'd do something like that. However, Gohan speed blitzes him and punches him in the stomach so hard that he coughs out blood. He then lands hooks and other punches, making his ears and face bleed. Finally, Gohan lifts for an upward kick to his chin that leaves him knocked out and minutes from death. The kick was truly powerful and his body just couldn't take it. Vegeta looks on at his comrade with disdain and disgust. To be embarrassed here by low-class trash, he can't believe it. Lifting his hand to shoot an energy wave, he roars vehemently as he blasts his friend to smithereens. Nobody was expecting that and Goku is furious. Why would you do that to your own friend? He was helping you, Goku shouts out. Friend, you must be mistaken Kakarot. He is only a partner, somebody that must do whatever I tell him to. He couldn't complete the job and so is useless to me, Vegeta retorts. This makes Goku raise his eyebrows in shock. The lack of remorse in his logic is almost terrifying. Gohan hearing this just gets angrier. He can't stand to hear such apathy. Let's see how confident you are fighting me, Gohan shouts. Those watching on are taken back by his attitude. Even though he's strong, he's always been the timid type. He must be very riled up to be acting this way. Gohan flies right at him and punches him in his jaw, slamming him through a rock hill. He looks quite hurt by that and is struggling to understand how he's done that. Gohan leaps up at him and continues his beatdown. Vegeta just can't do anything. He's taking stronger punches than he's ever felt before and can't even react because the attacks are just so fast. Vegeta receives a punch to the face, then a knee to his gut which is followed by an elbow to the jaw to drop him. Blood drips from his mouth and nose as he pants, struggling to get breath in. How could this low-class kid be as strong as he is? No, he's going to take defeat. Rising out of nowhere, he shoots a white ki blast into the air and smiles. Beginning to transform, Gohan has also been locked in. He's transforming as well. With Goku also still having his tail, he looks up at the blast and starts transforming. All three Saiyans grow large and enter their gargantuan Uzaru forms. The only thing is, Goku and Gohan have no sanity and control. Looking at each other, they immediately go in to battle each other to the death. Goku's power level is around 1 million by this point, at 950,000, so he clobbers Gohan with his first strike. He then grabs him, lifting him up before slamming him into the ground. Vegeta then turns his eyes to Kami, the only fighter left. He aims up and tries to launch a ki blast at the white fake moon, hoping to calm down these Saiyans, but Vegeta launches a mouth blast at it. The two collide, meaning the fake moon is still in the sky, shining bright. Kami then flies off toward Vegeta, taking on the battle as that's all he can do now. However, Vegeta takes him out in one go. With a single energy wave from his mouth, Kami is gone along with the Dragon Balls. The first human to rise is Krillin from the intensity of the battle around them. Tien also stands holding an injured arm. The battle going on around them is hectic, and they can see that Goku and Gohan have transformed as well, just fighting each other. While it looks like one is practically just beating up the other, therefore they need to find a way to stop this. They can see that ball in the sky and wonder if that's the source of their power, therefore they think of a strategy. Tien flies toward Vegeta, launching a tri-beam at his face. It catches him on his snout but causes very little damage. Tien goes on to hide behind a rock hill that is destroyed by a single swipe of the hand from Vegeta. This keeps the prince's eyes on him while Krillin flies up toward the moon in the sky. Already charging up his destructor disc, he aims it at the blast and destroys it. It turns to miniature particles of white energy that dissipate, immediately making Goku and Gohan stop. That's when their bodies start shrinking until they're back in their human forms, now asleep. Vegeta, seeing this, is furious. He grabs Krillin and crushes his skull with a squeeze, then blasting Chaozu away with a single blast. Tien is the only one left standing, and he is gone seconds later. Yamcha is the final one to meet his wrath and is taken out all the same too. This leaves Goku, who wakes up shortly after with Vegeta over him. He looks to blast these two fighters away while they're in this position, but Goku lifts and swipes the blast away before punching Vegeta back more than 10 meters. Feeling that punch, there are numerous broken bones and he can feel it even in his spine. Therefore he lifts and flies off as fast as he possibly can, just shooting off into the sky. Entering his pod, he's off the planet soon after, leaving just Goku and Gohan here. All their friends, even Kami, they're all gone. Without Kami, there's no way that they can even revive them. They aren't at all injured, but just left without much to work with. Heading back to Bulma's place, they tell her the news and she's horrified. They must think of a way to get out of this situation and fast. It's Mr. Popo that gives them the knowledge they need and locates Kami's ship. After this, they receive a message from some random person. Hello there, Goku. Who are you? You don't know me, but my name is King Kai. I have your friends here with me and I think I can help you get where you need to go, he speaks. They know they need to head back to where Kami came from, but they have no clue where exactly that is. With King Kai's galactic knowledge though, it's easy as he passes them coordinates and they're on their merry way soon after. Goku, Gohan and Bulma head there together and they arrive after the 34 days, like in canon. With a Dragon Radar, they locate the Dragon Balls but soon meet resistance from the Frieza Force. The scouter that was used to overhear the conversation between Goku and Gohan about the Dragon Balls was Nappa's. He took off his scouter before the fight and was left unharmed as the battle raged on. This means the locating of these balls won't be as easy as they thought it would be. Vegeta isn't already on Namek by this point, which means that Kui is alive and here. As the group arrive by a Namekian village, they can see Dodoria and Zarbon along with Kui facing several Namekian fighters and slaughtering them. Unlike with Gohan and Krillin where they acted covertly in canon, they both raise up and watch this standing. This immediately alerts the fighters to their presence. More Saiyans, just who are they? Zarbon asks. They haven't gotten to murdering everybody there, but a handful of fighters have been defeated. Therefore they sweep right in, releasing their full strength. Goku lands and stands ahead of Zarbon with Gohan going straight for Dodoria. Landing a single punch, he shoots him across the entire village, then Goku makes his stance against his own opponent. Zarbon has no scouter, so can't tell just how strong this Saiyan is. However, he can beat Vegeta and he's supposed to be the strongest, so there should be no problem. That's until he sees Dodoria getting manhandled by what seems to be a child. Before he can place his eyes back on Goku, he receives a crushing punch to his stomach that shatters his armor. Coughing blood while lurching back, you almost can't believe it. Just who are these Saiyans? Are they Vegeta's long lost siblings or something? Kui is terrified watching this because he knows how strong Zarbon and Dodoria are in comparison to him. If he fights here, he'll get squashed like an insect. What are you doing? Go in there and fight, Frieza orders. Kui hears this coming from behind him and gulps. His mind is telling him to follow the order of his master, but then his body just won't follow his command. Frieza looks irritated and just kills him, also killing Dodoria once he witnesses his weakness. Zarbon, I know this isn't your full strength. Don't disappoint me and finish the job, he says, before flying away in his pod. Zarbon then stands, before he smiles menacingly. He can feel the power that he's kept hidden inside rushing through his body. His scaly skin starts looking oilier and grotesque, while his face starts morphing starting to become uglier and more monstrous. His transformed state is here, and he charges forward with stomp-like strides. Slugging forward his now larger fist, he can feel the great power behind it and is confident in himself. However, that confidence flushes straight out his body as he sees the punch stopped by Goku's palm. Pulling his fist back, Goku shoots his fist into his chest, also lengthening his forearm to make the strike that much deadlier. He follows up with several punches of this style, being shot up onto his chest and gut area. After so many punches, his body has just been crippled. He falls flat onto the ground and is dead soon after. After seeing how evil they were, Goku felt like it was right to take them down like this, but to see them with their lives lost makes him think differently. He feels almost guilty for what he's done, but then hears cheers from the Namekians behind him. They just hand him their Dragon Ball and Dende tells them of where they could go next, Guru's place. A Namekian soldier that was there in the fight against Dodoria. I'll put an image of him on the screen now and he hasn't really been named. I'll just call him Base for now and give him a solid power level of 10,000. Quite strong but nothing compared to Dodoria. He ushers them toward Guru's palace and they head there much faster since he's quicker than Dende is. Here they receive another Dragon Ball and Guru gives them the gift of unlocking their potentials. Gohan's power level doubles, reaching 70,000 and Goku's reaches up to 200,000. Nail, who is there just watching this, feels almost intimidated by their power. It's just good to know that these warriors are on the good side though. After this, they arrive at the Namekian village that Vegeta originally slaughtered in the canon and the Dragon Ball is almost handed to them. Without anybody to do his dirty work, Frieza is quite annoyed. He was hoping that a transformed Zarbon would make quick work of those Saiyans, but it seems that he hasn't. That's what makes things a little more confusing to Frieza. Just who are those Saiyans that have humbled his top men? Soon after though, the Ginyu force arrive, but someone else does too, Vegeta. He saw many Frieza soldiers on the planet and wonders if the rumours are true. He thought those Namekian Dragon Balls were just a myth, but once he sees how many Frieza soldiers are posted on the planet, he must head there to check things out. He received an even bigger beatdown in this timeline, and so his power level is now at 26,000. Arriving on the planet, he is spooked to sense the first power levels there with his scouter. The Ginyu Force. Power levels more than 40,000 in a group of 5. What are they doing here? He was expecting to see people like Zarbon or Dodoria. Those are the people that Frieza usually resorts to for missions like these, but how come they've been summoned here? Rushing into battle against people like them would be stupid. He knows how strong he is in comparison to those people and there's no match. But therefore he stays back but remains watchful to see what's happening here. He came here in search of the Dragon Balls, but without any radar and in the face of these fighters, it'd be best not to act rash. The Ginyu Force stand ahead of Goku and Gohan as they guard their Dragon Balls. Hello Saiyans, we've heard some great things about you, like how you took down Dodoria. What a surprise. I wouldn't expect Saiyans like you to be out there even stronger than Vegeta. You're not getting any of our Dragon Balls, Goku replies, not paying any attention to what he's just said. I'm sorry, but that is not a request. We need them, Jay says, stepping forward. As he steps forward, Goku and Gohan make their stances. Looks like you want to do this the hard way. Alright then, Goldo, Jay shouts. Goldo steps forward, stopping time and freezing the fires. Sharpening a tree stump and launching it at Goku, it just breaks apart upon hitting his body. As Goldo is startled by this, he then stops freezing time. Goku, now that he has the chance to attack, speed blitzes him and punches him in the head so hard that he knocks him right out. He didn't place enough force to kill him per se, but he won't be a part of the fight any longer. Those around then pounce, with Berta taking on Goku. Jace rushes past those two and aims for Gohan. Berta rushes in, trying to win this fight with his immense speed, but Goku evades every single one of his attacks easily. He finishes off with a right hand straight at his face, but he grabs the fist and just throws it to the side and ends up throwing his whole body down in the process. Oh, sorry about that, Goku says, being truly genuine. Berta, taking this attack, bounces right back up and dashes forward, unwilling to take his apology or this humiliation. However, Goku slips under two of his straight punches and elbows him in the chest, breaking his armor while sending him flying. Gohan steps back from a punch aimed at his face and just plays around with Jace. The gap in power is just too great. Jumping over him, he shoots down a kick onto his upper back and throws him to the ground with just that single hit. This leaves only Raccoon for them to deal with. He isn't the most confident after seeing his comrades getting swatted away with single attacks, but is also angry to see that they've been dismantled so easily. He leaps toward the two fighters and aims to slam down Goku, but he raises his open hand while enlarging it. This latches straight onto Raccoon and there's nothing that he can do to free himself. He ends up getting thrown to the ground and battered by Goku's gargantuan fists. This leaves only Ginyu, that's flown off to receive direct orders from Frieza. Unlike before, he doesn't have as many Dragon Balls since Goku's team is doing quite well. They can travel with more confidence since he is already so powerful. Ginyu soon comes flying toward the group after he's received direct orders from the Emperor. As he arrives, he gets to work. He doesn't say much and is quite angry after seeing all of his partners badly hurt by these two. Revealing his dark purple ki, he rushes in and the fight is on. The first to face him is Gohan, with Goku stepping back. Cannon punch, Gohan shouts, mirroring the attack of his father. He throws in his larger fist with a lengthening arm, adding to the overall power of his strike by a great amount. Even if Ginyu's power level exceeds Gohan's, this trick of his makes him much stronger. The punch cracks his armor, then Gohan follows with another of these punches aimed onto his nose. Ginyu stumbles back, shaking his head a little from the force. He was certain that he read a power level of 70,000 from the boy. That is startling for a Saiyan, of course, but way below his level of strength. It just doesn't make much sense to him, really. Snapping out of it, he runs straight back in and catches Gohan with an elbow to his jaw. He then drives up with an uppercut that lands flush on his chin. It's clear that Ginyu is the physically superior fighter, as Gohan is struggling to perceive these fast attacks. He could have done something about it, but that's only if he could see them coming. He is kneed in his stomach, which drops him to a knee, but he stretches out his arm more than 10 meters away, then digs his fingers into the soil below. Pulling himself away, he gains some distance from Ginyu, who just flies straight after him. The gap between them closes as Ginyu simply moves faster than this young Saiyan, but he's playing right into his hands. His fist grows into a massive ball of metal, and he slugs forward this larger hand to strike him right in the face. The metal exterior crushes his scouter while breaking his skull as well. Blood shoots out his mouth and nose, and he falls back dazed. Feeling this sense of humiliation at being destroyed by the Saiyan child, Ginyu lets loose. He shouts at the top of his lungs, then launches this weird blast at him. Goku doesn't know what it is and assumes Gohan will do something about it. He tries to, attempting to catch it, but this instead causes them to switch bodies. Gohan is now in the injured body of Ginyu, barely able to see through the streams of blood flowing into his eyes. Ginyu has taken over the pristine Saiyan body of Gohan, pumping his chest with excitement. He begins to power up, but only manages to reach a power level of 18,000. He can't tell that he's so weak here, so continues with confidence. Goku can't immediately tell what's going on, but when he hears the voice coming from Gohan's body, he knows. Ginyu has managed to body swap somehow, quite an intriguing technique. Even if Ginyu can't use Gohan's body fully, Gohan can't do that in Ginyu's body either. This gives Ginyu the upper hand, but Goku stops him from landing a second punch. His stretching hand lands on Gohan's shoulder and he then pulls him down. Goku can't just defeat him or kill him since he's in Gohan's body. Along with that, Ginyu's body isn't doing too well and he may not last very long. He just grits his teeth once he realises the predicament that he's in here. After a few seconds of just standing there, musing over the situation, he comes up with a plan. Letting go of Gohan's body, he raises and just looks at Goku with an angered expression. Shouting, he flies straight toward him and cocks back his fist to attack, but Goku stops him with a punch to his gut. The punch releases a shockwave from the intense impact and makes Ginyu fall back and hold Gohan's body in agony. Wheezing from the pain, he simply flops to his knees upon taking a second of these strikes. As he feels these attacks, Ginyu is aware that Goku is way stronger than him. There won't be much that he could do. Therefore, he looks to try and perform the technique. Gohan, get here now, Goku roars, flying back as fast as he can. Ginyu looks around hastily and sees Gohan leaping into the beam with his body. The swap is performed and Ginyu is sent rolling away in his own body that was launched. Gohan looks down, taps his own body and is elated to finally have it to himself again. Now that his body is healed too, his power level reaches further, to 85,000. Goku then arrives by his side and Ginyu coughs out even more blood since his body is not in the best condition at all. Get out of here, Goku commands, and Ginyu can't help but follow. Flying off in defeat, he simply enters his pod and leaves the planet, going rogue. He'll be back at some point, he's sure of it. After this, they believe the fight is almost over, but somebody makes themselves known, Frieza. He lands ahead of Goku, and this means they have to change up their whole strategy. If both of them get bogged down fighting Frieza, they may not get the chance to summon Porunga and revive their friends. Therefore, they have to split up. I'll take him. Gohan, go and get the remaining Dragon Balls and perform the wish, Goku whispers to Gohan, who flies off at full pelt. So what do we have here? Another Saiyan. You remind me of someone, he must have been your father. The Saiyan that stood up to me all those years ago, Frieza states, chuckling to himself. Goku can feel his power and isn't that confident at all. This guy is really something else. He just prays that his body can give him something to work with, because right now he doesn't have much at all. I don't know who you're talking about, Goku says, making his stance. You really wish to stand up to me? Okay then. then. I'll give you what you want, Frieza says, powering up. The ground quakes from the power he releases, and he just cackles upon showing off all this power. Vegeta, who hasn't even taken his eyes off the events that have transpired, can't believe what is happening. Even though he grew stronger, he didn't know that Frieza was so far above everyone else. He grunts from sheer rage, but has to keep quiet so that he isn't found by him. Frieza darts ahead and kicks him in the face, before whipping around his shin to slam it into his ear. Once he steps back, he is surprised to see Goku not really hurt by those punches. His body is so durable that punches from stronger people don't really hurt him. Frieza continues with his assault, gradually growing angry and more forceful with each attack, but he soon realizes that it will change nothing. He just takes every attack and continues standing there like a wall, unbreakable. Now breathing more intensely from his full power assault, he chooses to go down a different path. You'll be the first Saiyan to ever see this form of mine. Be grateful, Frieza says, taking a slightly wider stance. Once he crouches, his transformation is underway. The ground's rumbling resumes and his muscles bulge up. His body grows in size until the form is complete. Goku then follows suit, growing his body until they are literally the same height. This makes Frieza a little surprised, however he just smirks and charges forward to slam into Goku. Even though Goku is weaker, he can take this slam. The only thing he can't do is push Frieza back. The two clasp their hands, then slam their heads together, pushing at each other powerfully. With this larger frame, Goku's raw power has increased tremendously. He also hasn't reached the point where his speed starts to tail off quite badly. He has a power level closer to 250,000 now instead of 200,000, but it's still nowhere near enough. As they continue to push at each other, Goku can then feel his body going through some adaptation. He's getting physically stronger. Even though this is only one attribute of battle power, it does result in his power level increasing. It continues to rise, reaching even 400,000 in just this push. He continues to shout, pushing forward as hard as he can, then Frieza's smile slowly wipes off his face. He can feel Goku just getting stronger and stronger somehow. His power level crosses past 800,000, and that's when he manages to push Frieza's arm back. Just as he does this, the sky goes black. Porunga has been summoned. Frieza doesn't immediately know what's happening, but he can make things out after some time. That boy that just left out of nowhere, he's gone off to do something with the Dragon Balls. He's been played. Frieza starts looking around hastily and smashes his elbow into Goku's face to try and fly off. However, Goku latches onto him, using his pure strength that he's now acquired to keep him in place. Even though his overall battle power is near 800,000, his body has raw strength closer to someone with a power level of 2 million. Frieza is going absolutely nowhere. Across the planet, Gohan is with Bulma and Base, the Namekian that they met previously. He willingly translates for them and they first wish for Kami to be revived. As he comes back, the Dragon Balls return. Kami, now that he's alive, wants to join the fight, to fight for his people that have been slaughtered at the hands of that terrible emperor. Therefore, he is transported to Namek. For the final wish, they don't spend much time thinking about it and they wish for Kami's youth. If he wants to fight, he needs to be at his proper peak. On King Kai's planet, he's been trained by him and can now use Kaioken along with the Spirit Bomb. After this training, his power level reached 100,000, and once he wished for his youth, his power jumped up to 250,000. Kami arrives at the scene, then feels the key that Frieza has. He will be absolutely no match for him. He knew that Frieza was strong from what King Kai was saying to him, but he didn't know that he'd be this strong. What is calming is that he senses Goku's, and he can also feel that he's very strong. Frieza continues to wrestle with Goku and is furious when he sees the sky brighten up to daytime. Have the wishes already been taken from him? That's when he sees a Dragon Ball whiz over him, leaving a golden trail of energy. The wishes were taken from him. He lost. This is when he loses it. Before he was fighting to get those Dragon Balls, but now he doesn't even care. He's going to slaughter all these damn people that have stopped him from achieving his goal. Once he begins to transform, he reaches his final form, and his shape-shifting means that Goku loses grip of him. Frieza turns to kick him in the chest, but nothing happens. Goku's body takes it with ease, and Frieza then swings in another kick, this time aimed at his ear. However, both attacks do very little. He takes both hits to his body and feels almost nothing. The next comes and Goku tries to dodge it, but it's far too slow. Frieza's power level is already at 30 million by this point, and he just keeps throwing and throwing out of fury. As these attacks keep coming in, Goku gets beat up at first. The attacks do nothing, but they all land with ease. That's when Goku slips one, then starts slipping more and more until they just no longer land on him. Frieza's been too invested in just letting out his anger with these repeated strikes to even notice that he's completely fine. He continues throwing and looks on with eyes of shock to see Goku slip the attacks that he couldn't perceive just minutes prior. He falls back, breathing more intensely, and can't really piece together what's just happened here. How has he grown so strong to the point where this can happen? Was he toying with him before? Maybe. Didn't seem to even move with any of the other hits anyway. Goku's power level has risen to 30 million in just these sequences of attacks. That's when Frieza chooses to go for someone else to take his anger on. Flying up top speed in the direction of where the Dragon Ball he recently saw came from, he arrives at the scene of where Kami and Gohan are. He shoots a death beam and it goes straight through base. Once he comes storming in, he knees Gohan in the face, shooting repeated death beams through his body too. He's the person that caught him in the situation that he's in now, so he's making sure to focus his anger on him. Goku arrives in a flash right after and can't believe what he's seeing. Rushing straight into the fight, he grabs Gohan and brings him to safety before he can continue. Don't toy with me, Saiyan. If you have any power you're hiding, it'd be best for you to show it now, Frieza commands. Kami rushes to base aid and sees that he doesn't have much longer. Kami isn't the type of Namekian where he can heal people, he's a fighter type, and so there's little that can be done here. There isn't anyone on the scene that could do that, and so Base decides to grab onto his hand. Fusion is the only way forward. Kami nods at him, thanking him for his help. They glow brightly and Goku turns around to view them more closely. The fusion begins and his power level shoots up to 2.5 million. Kami feels like a new person and Goku hasn't even taken the chance to get a good glimpse of him now that he's in this new youthful form. His muscles are larger and he looks full of vigour. Goku, stand back for now. Let me show you something I've been working on, Kami says, crouching down. Kaioken times 20, he shouts, with his voice now sounding louder and younger. His power level reaches 50 million and he races off toward Frieza. Taking him off guard with his initial elbow, he follows up with a crushing uppercut to his chin, then whip-like kicks to his torso and arms. These attacks really break up the Emperor, and Kami is fighting with a sense of ferocity he doesn't fight with usually. This is coming from the rage of Base at seeing his people get slaughtered right in front of him. Kami thrusts forward his foot for a kick and drops Frieza to his knees. His finisher strike is another uppercut landing flush on the chin to launch Frieza into the air before he is left to fall down. Now covered in his own blood, the level of anger he feels is immense. Roaring at the top of his lungs, his body is beefed up and he's now in his 100% form. This state of his is quite intimidating for the crew, and Frieza races straight past Goku to grab Kami by the head, slamming him. Goku is left distraught. The blood of his Namekian mentor flushes over his body in gi and he just looks down with a faceless expression. This can't be happening. His hair begins to lift and a tear runs down his face. The man standing before him is evil and must be dealt with. His power can no longer be held back, and in a fit of rage his transformation is complete. The Super Saiyan is here. With a massive power level of 1.5 billion, it's not looking good for Frieza at all. Goku slugs his fist forward and hits like a truck with his first punch. Frieza's body can't take it at all and he is left for dead after this one hit. It lands cleanly on his jaw and he's left to slide away. Goku is still hyperventilating from what's happened and then rushes over to Kami after noticing him cough out blood. He's alive, thankfully. Exhaling with relief, he looks over at Gohan, who rushes over as if he wasn't just assailed by Frieza minutes prior. It's good to see that his healing powers are almost as good as his. Gohan's power level is now 250,000, so not much but still decent. Goku doesn't really know what to do since he can't really heal anyone. Looking around hastily, Kami passes out and Goku can feel his signature fading fast. Gohan begins looking around the planet at top speed and finds himself at a village. He finds Dende, the Namekian that directed them toward Kami's place, and grabs him to fly off. Once he arrives, Goku still has a tight grip on Kami's hand, praying that he survives. Dende heals him and his body is restored to its fully healthy state. He's just fine. The Namek saga has come to an end and Frieza is gone. This leaves the Earthlings with only one job left. They need to find their way back to Earth somehow. Their ship was destroyed upon arrival, so they have to resort to Frieza's ship. Across from this scene, Vegeta cannot believe the events that have transpired. Goku is the Super Saiyan, he knows for a fact. He's never seen a Saiyan with such flowing blonde hair. After that transformation, his scouter literally broke up upon attempting to read his power level. Before that, he read 30 million from both Frieza and him. 30 million. It reached past even 100 million from the transformation. Vegeta, sliding down the rock that he was previously hiding behind, feels like he's going to have some form of panic attack. How has this happened? How has he been so far outclassed? The Earthlings are on their way shortly after and Vegeta decides to just go rogue. What he's going to do now though is train, and train unlike he's ever done before. He needs to catch up to Goku and catch up to him fast. There's no time for breaks. Upon heading toward Earth, their ship ends up on yard track. Bulma made a mistake with the calibration since it looks totally alien to her. She just managed to manipulate the Namekian ship to make it easier for her to use, but she had to decipher the entire user interface for Frieza's ship by herself. Here, the fighters meet the Yardratians and decide to do some training. In the meditation part of their training, Kami initially performs the best with his meditation. It's something that he's been doing for many years now, so it's almost second nature for him. As for Goku though, his mind is quite cluttered at first, but after just a few hours his meditation quality is second to none. After just a few days, Goku begins using the most basic technique of instant transmission. As time passes, Goku then moves on to things like spirit control. Here he masters those techniques, and after the full year that they spend here, Kami manages to unlock the technique of cloning and gigantification using spirit control. As for Gohan, all he can use is instant transmission after this whole year of training. He has some of Goku's abilities, but the main ability of adaptation just isn't there really. He can heal and manipulate his body, but that's about the extent of his abilities. Upon arriving, Gohan does continue training at this time due to the influence from his father. When they arrive though, things are quite different. They meet what seems to be a Saiyan. He powers out of his Super Saiyan form, but they all caught glimpse of it. "Goku, it's you," Trunks says with relief. They converse for a short time and Trunks wants to test Goku to see how strong he is. After that, he's going to reveal his identity. So that's what they do. Goku stands in his Yardrat attire with his arms crossed. Trunks then goes in to slash him, but he makes not even a single movement. You can see that he didn't even intend to slash him. Trunks then goes in for the full slash and Goku catches it with a finger as usual. After this, he explains what is going to happen in a few years' time. Goku is going to get the heart virus and die. Then the world will be razed to the ground and practically conquered by two omni-malevolent androids, hell-bent on causing destruction and suffering. Goku does not like the sound of what is to happen in 3 years, and none of the others do when they hear of this. Therefore, they begin their training and go at it hard. Kami continues to train with the Saiyans, being Goku and Gohan. During this time, Goku starts to think about what happened to Vegeta. He couldn't remember seeing him after their fight on Earth a year back and wonders what he's been up to in this time. Anyway, Vegeta doesn't make himself known for now, and the training continues. During this time, Goku is taught the ability of Kaioken from Kami. It's a nice technique to have, and since he doesn't immediately need to use it right now, he doesn't try and reach the higher multiplications of it. He's just happy to know that if he needs it in battle, that he can use it anytime. Goku ends up unlocking the ascended forms of Super Saiyan during this time, and even Super Saiyan 2 once he realizes how useless they are. Grades 2 and 3 are powerful, but the drop in speed he receives is akin to making himself 5 meters tall. After doing solitary training, his body provides him with real-time boosts to his power. As a resource to work with, he gets Bulma to get him a gravity chamber like he used on his way to Namek in canon. Working in things like 10,000 times gravity, he can inflict far more damage onto his body through the training, which further helps him grow. Using this extreme form of training, this is where the gap between him and everyone else starts to widen quite far. After these 3 years, the time has come. The crew all stand on a mountain looking over to the city of Sasebo, where the androids will be at. Goku stands at the forefront of this group that are all confident in themselves. Goku just leaps right in there, finding the androids in his trajectory. Readjusting his descent using flight, he arrives in front of the two androids, 19 and 20. "Stop right there," Goku commands, putting his hand up. Jiro meets his command with a contemptuous laugh. "Goku, who would have thought I'd find you here of all places?" Jiro says. "What do you mean, who are you?" Goku asks. "A member of the former Red Ribbon Army, remember? The group that you destroyed like a maniac. Well, you were strong but you weren't smart, and I managed to escape in the nick of time. Now that you've given me this ample time to recuperate and strategize, you will pay for what you've done with your life. 19, destroy him," Jiro orders. "Affirmative," 19 replies, with his high-pitched voice. 19 leaps at Goku, who sees him coming in his advance. Slipping past his initial strike, he then ducks under the second punch coming his way. Even in just his base form, dodging these attacks is tittle light work to Goku. One of 19's punches lands in Goku's cupped hand, then he pulls back his free hand. Clenching that into a fist, it then enlarges and he rockets it forward to hit 19. What does take him aback is that as he lands the hit, it just goes straight through the android's whole body. He's done, just like that, and Jiro has to make a run for it before it's too late. Goku follows right after him but loses sight of him in the rocky area he enters. As for the others that follow closely behind, they're also lost. This is when Goku starts feeling a little drowsy. You can feel this weird sense of serious fatigue, which is something he only really gets when he trains his body to the absolute maximum. After a few seconds though, his breathing calms and he feels fine. As the group have grouped together, Goku just talks to Trunks about the androids that he saw. They did not match his descriptions at all, and this leaves him confused. Just how much has changed in this timeline due to his arrival. Seconds later, they can see a golden aura whiz below them. They have no clue who or what it is at first, but Goku then senses the key signature of Vegeta. He then flies up to face Goku directly. Long time no see, Saiyan, Vegeta shouts, already in his Super Saiyan form. Vegeta, Goku replies more coldly. He really does not need this to be happening right now. The group have some androids to deal with, and Vegeta will just waste his time with his shenanigans. Goku, are you fine to stay here? Trunks asks. Yeah, go on and find the androids, Goku replies. Trunks, along with the humans, Gohan and Kami descend to try and find Jiro, while Goku is left to face Vegeta. What made you come here after all this time? Goku asks, almost like a friend. Vegeta feels disgusted by that tone, that politeness. It's almost as if he's being patronising toward him, like he sees no threat from him. I'll wipe that smug smirk off your face, Vegeta roars, pointing at him directly. The fight then begins, and Vegeta starts off as the aggressor. Kicking at Goku's chest, he leaps off him to launch his Big Bang attack. This even catches the attention of the fighters below, astounded by how much Vegeta has grown during this time. It's almost as if he heard about the androids too. As the smoke clears, Goku is revealed with not even the smallest bruise or scratch. His gaze is still on Vegeta, ready to see what he's going to do next. Vegeta's eye twitches slightly and he dives down to try and attack Goku again, who just teleports so that he appears behind him. Shooting his elbow back, also lengthening his arm in the process, Vegeta takes this strike straight to the back of his neck. The hit lands cleanly on this part of his neck and leaves Vegeta nearly knocked out. Along with that, he's totally shocked. This is how strong Goku is. Really? You just can't believe it. In just his base form too. He was sure that he saw Goku use the Super Saiyan form, yet here he hasn't needed to. The gap between them really is that large. Across from them, the androids have revealed themselves and are currently being stopped by Kami. After training with a Super Saiyan, his power has certainly grown. Along with his youthful body, he's gaining a lot more from the training. The others just let Kami have this fight and he crouches down to make a stance. Android 18 stands forward and will be the first to take him on. Kami rushes forward, throwing forward 2 palm slams only to receive a punch to his chest. The strike leaves him wobbly, but he leaps back, taking a deep breath and resets. Attempting to attack from a different angle, he just gets elbowed on the nose and now knows that his mere base won't do much for him. Therefore, he continues this battle with the use of Kaioken times 20. Racing back toward 18, he perplexes her with his great speed. Even 17 seems to get brought to life after being struck with complete boredom at the initial exchange of attacks. Kami lands 2 consecutive clean punches to her dome before landing a double drop kick to her abdomen that throws her back more than 10 meters. He elegantly backflips off this attack, so it isn't exactly a drop kick, and he lands back on his feet with grace. With Kaioken, he can't just be waiting around, and so continues the assault. 18 manages to block the first punch to her arms, but Kami whips a hook around her arms to strike her ear. He then lands repeated punches and palm slams, throwing with the precision and elegance of a martial arts grandmaster. He resembles Ip Man with his grace and technique, along with the vicious power that comes with each hit. Landing an uppercut to the chin, one of his go-to finishes, 18 staggers back and wipes the blood oozing from her nose. Spitting out even more blood, 17 takes her position and looks at her with pity. I can't believe that you got humiliated like this, Android 17 states. Standing ahead of her, he then flies forward and takes the battle himself. Kami grits his teeth once he realizes how much strain he's going to put on himself. Already making me break down my new young body I was blessed to get again. Oh well, Kaioken times 25, Kami shouts. His power is returned to him and it feels even more immense than it once was. Ducking past the initial punch aimed at his face, he thrusts his fist into 17's face. The impactful strike ends up breaking some of the facial components and biological parts of it. It sends him falling back, then he takes this chance to pounce himself. Kami leaps forward and continues with a blazing combination of punches that he throws from various angles and with great accuracy. 17 though doesn't just fall back and try his best to take the attacks, but instead gets angrier and angrier once he sees that defeat might just be inevitable. Without being able to realize his goal of killing Goku, he is fueled by nothing but rage. Shouting at the top of his lungs, he draws from the infinite energy bank inside him and shows off his maximum strength. His hair lifts and flows from this explosion of power and he blasts off toward Kami with everything he has. Putting everything behind his punch, he destroys the ground that Kami lays on and sends him back a handful of meters. After looking at the destruction around him that he's caused, he's confident in himself. What he sees on the Namekian's arm though is just a minor bruise. He barely did a thing. However, Kami extends his arm to grab onto 17 then pull him with astounding force. As their heads collide, 17 is left knocked out. He's been defeated. Both androids have been taken down by the god of Earth, Kami himself. Someone that lands next to these androids is a fallen Vegeta who has now lost consciousness. He's been taken down as well. Wow, I thought they were going to be a lot scarier than they actually were, Krillin comments. Vegeta wakes up shortly after and realises where he is now, amongst these fallen androids defeated at the hands of Goku in his base form. Android 16 though hasn't been taken down yet, and so he grabs the 2 androids before flying off at top speed. Before anybody can race after the 3 androids, they're already gone, and because their key signatures can't be sensed, they're totally off the radar. Vegeta then summons the strength to fly off as well, unable to accept this failure of his. How did he end up in this state? It doesn't even seem like he's second place. That Namekian could have possibly beat him. Maybe Goku's kid could have done the same too. It's hard for him to stomach, and he feels like even going off planet. Somebody that does show up shortly after this whole series of events is Imperfect Cell, and he wants the androids. Making himself known in the city of Ginyu Town, Kami is the one that stops him. "Just what are you?" Kami asks, walking toward the being. "Hello Kami. Well, to answer that question, I am you. I am the Saiyans, the humans. Your best traits have all been mixed to birth me, the ultimate life form," he claims. "Alright then, let's see how good you are," Kami says, powering up. "Kaioken times 20, he then utters, gritting his teeth from the strain on his body. It hurts him quite a lot, but from the key signature that he can sense from Cell, he'll be no god if he doesn't resort to these levels of Kaioken anyway. Imperfect Cell readies himself, then extends his arm all the way to Kami to land a punch. This is something that Kami was not expecting at all. However, he reacts in kind and throws out his very own extended arm first. Not only that, but he extends the other and lifts the bio-android to then thrust him down. The impact is heavy, but Cell retracts his arm then stays back for the moment. Kami feels a little spooked to see that Cell has that ability of his, but stays away for a short moment. Just as Kami wants to step forward and attack, Cell enlarges his fist a massive amount and pounds Kami on his chest repeatedly. He just doesn't stop firing off this gargantuan fist before he then shows off something weird. From below his 2 arms, more arms start to grow and extend. In the end, there are 10 gigantic arms that are as big as his legs with massive fists. He then charges ahead and throws a flurry of punches that Kami can do absolutely nothing to block or evade. They move with a level of swiftness that he wasn't expecting, even with his Kaioken enhanced body to resist them. In the end, he ends up getting battered into a building and coughs out blood from the injuries incurred. Falling down to a knee, his Kaioken fades and he then feels even more blood oozing from his nose and mouth. His body has been expended. Now that he's in this younger body of his, he struggles with keeping himself away from his physical limit. With a younger, more vigorous frame, he always assumes that his stamina is almost infinite, but that is not the case. "What are you?" Kami wonders, holding his chest in pain. "I am Cell," Cell shouts, before being sent flying down the street. Gohan arrives by Kami's side and he seems to be fading fast. In his blurring vision though, he can see the round symbol of Goku's gi on his back. "Don't worry Kami, we've got you," Gohan explains, trying his best to keep him awake and present. Goku then stares down Cell before powering up into his Super Saiyan form. He has to make this quick. Cell, after winning that fight flawlessly, has become too confident. Flying straight toward Goku without fear, Goku clobbers him with the first punch. It's not even funny how much force there is behind this strike. Cell is left to stagger to the ground and receives a kick to his chest that shoots him through a whole building. Once he slows to a stop, he looks around to try and search for Goku, only to feel himself being grabbed from behind. With the use of instant transmission, he's appeared behind him. He slams him into the road below, shattering it. Finally, he grabs his tail, then swings him around into the air as if he's doing a hammer throw. As Cell is left to flail around like a maniac, Goku releases a full power Kamehameha above. The blast lands straight onto Cell and destroys him at the cellular level. After the blast, it seems like it's all over. Even the durable nucleus in Cell's head has been destroyed. It really is over. The threat of Cell is already gone before it could fully manifest. After this, the androids are also struggling to think about how they could even defeat Goku. Android 16 is possibly their only hope, but they don't want to run into that Namekian again. Even with that, wouldn't Goku be stronger than that random Namekian anyway? If he beat them both, how would they fare against Goku, a Saiyan? It's hard for their minds to wrap around, except for 16. His mind is hard at work, analysing all the parameters at hand to try and come to a logical solution. As for right now, the Earthlings need to find a way to revive those that Cell killed. He had absorbed many hundreds of people in Ginyu Town, and then 19 and Dr. Gero also caused further damages. Kami is luckily still alive and is healed by Goku with the use of the Yardrat technique, therefore the Dragon Balls can still be used. Without the androids as an active threat in this situation, they're gathered easily. They then wish for everyone who died at the hands of Gero's creations to be revived. The wish works and pretty much everyone is revived. At the scene though, Krillin wants the androids to also be rewired since they were made to want to kill Goku. Even if 16 is artificial, 17 and 18 were once humans, so it's right to give them their minds back. With the second wish, it is done and the Dragon Balls then disperse. This brings the Cell Saga to an end. Goku continues to train with Kami, but Gohan starts going down the path of education. He isn't particularly fond of fighting and hates hurting people even if he is talented. With Goku still here as the protector of Earth, there is even less incentive for him to continue training. Goku unlocks Super Saiyan 3 during this time and continues growing at astronomical rates. Goten is born during this time of peace and has similar traits to Gohan. However, since Vegeta isn't here, there isn't a Trunks. It's kind of just Goten here with his normal human friends and no Saiyan companions his age. Across the galaxy there is Vegeta. After training even more, he unlocks Super Saiyan 2 for himself. His main mission, his main goal is to get back and defeat Goku in the heat of battle. However, for the time being, what's he going to do? He's lost pretty much everyone around him. Even if he didn't respect those people like Raditz and Nappa, they were at least people that were always around him. Constantly training on his own is almost making himself insane. Going back to Earth isn't really an option for him. He's never spent time growing close to anybody on the planet. He's never helped the Earthlings on Namek. He never returned with them to Earth and never befriended Bulma. The planet of Earth brings him only bad memories and he hates the fighters that live there. Therefore he heads instead to Namek. He arrives with conviction and now that he is so much stronger, these Namekians are forced to bend to his will. Nail is the first to stand up to him upon his arrival. "What do you want to do here, Saiyan?" Nail asks, with authority. "I need your Dragon Balls for a wish," Vegeta commands. As of right now, he's been keeping his key signature down to a minimum after just witnessing the Earthlings doing it. Nail can't tell just how strong he is yet. "I cannot do that. Leave this planet at once," Nail commands. "You could have done this the easy way, but it looks like we have to do this the hard way," Vegeta says. Nail then powers up and prepares to fight Vegeta. He feels confident at first, but this washes away once he feels how strong he becomes. Vegeta blasts off toward him and knocks him to the ground before stomping his stomach. "I said I need the Dragon Balls," Vegeta shouts. "Go and get them for me or I'll destroy every single one of you Namekians. Do not rile me up," Vegeta shouts before showing off even more of his power with his Super Saiyan state. Nail manages to raise back up and flies off upon seeing this. The Dragon Balls are brought together for him and Nail, with a bead of sweat trickling down his face, waits for Vegeta to make his wishes. Bring back the Saiyans that were killed on Earth. Saying this, Nappa and Raditz are given life again. This is the only wish that he needs, but with 2 more, why stop here? "Make me immortal," Vegeta commands. Those around him that can understand him look terrified upon hearing this from him, and Nail hesitates for a time. "Make the wish then." Nail then says such wish in Namekian and it's granted. There's a weird fuzzy feeling in the Saiyan's body, and after this it doesn't feel like much has changed. However, he knows these dragons, he really does have immortality now. Now create a realm where time passes differently inside it. When one day passes outside of it, I want several days to pass inside it. A realm large enough for somebody to train in, Vegeta explains. Porunga is stronger than Shenron and can take this request. Instead of a large opening like the Room of Spirit and Time, it looks more like a portal-y. It's not heavy either, about 150 kilograms, so he grabs it and just flies off the planet without saying goodbye or thank you. Luckily he hasn't killed anyone here and just flies off like nothing happened. Back on Earth, Nappa and Raditz have been revived. Upon waking up, they believe it's just the same time when they were killed. However, so many years have passed since that point, nearly 5 to be exact. Raditz slowly rises and scratches his head with confusion at what has happened. He looks around him and sees the destroyed ground that has almost grown over his body in ways. What is going on here? Did they just leave me here? Raditz wonders, standing. Nappa is thinking similar things. Reaching for a scouter, he begins searching on the planet, but it soon breaks upon trying to sense Goku's power. Just who is that person in the distance? Is that Goku? He doesn't remember him being that strong. Flying over there to see what's happened, he meets Raditz. Looking down, they see Kami and Goku training over the waters near the Kame house. "Nappa, you're here?" Raditz asks, confused. "You were dead. You died nearly a year ago," Nappa explains. "I think a lot of time has passed. It seems like the world has moved on already," Raditz then says, looking down at his brother sparring. That's when Goku abruptly stops. "What's wrong?" Kami asks, holding back his own fist. Looking up, he sees Raditz and Nappa alive once again. The sky didn't go dark here, so he knows that Kami's Dragon Balls weren't used. Instead, someone else's were. Porunga was summoned. There aren't many words to exchange here. Both parties know very little about the situation at hand. "How did you two come back to life?" Goku asks. "So you don't know," Raditz then furthers. "How were we brought back to life then? Was it not you that caused this?" Nappa asks. "No, not at all. I've just been training." With that, Raditz and Nappa get taken down to the Kame house where Goku tries his best to keep them under control. The conversation starts off with them basically figuring out how much time has passed since their deaths. Their conversation then goes down the route of foes that Goku has faced since then, and they're almost shocked to hear that Frieza was defeated more than 3 years ago, and that several stronger foes came along on Earth and were all soundly taken down by Goku. This is when they start to calm a lot more. The whole dynamic has changed. They get to do pretty much whatever they want now that the Empire has crumbled. Even the Doria, Zaba and the whole Ginyu force are nothing to worry about. That leads the conversation to Vegeta. Where is he in all this? Kami and Goku just answer truthfully, saying they have no idea. He did show up 3 years ago to try and fight Goku, with things definitely not going as he intended. After that, there hasn't been anything. For this time being, Raditz and Nappa are held on Earth, but they aren't the nicest bunch. They choose to do whatever pleases them basically, so Goku can't direct them. After about a month or so of this, someone arrives on the planet. Vegeta. Goku can sense his ki and knows it's him immediately. Nappa can use his scouter, but these devices can't sense the identity of a specific individual. They can infer from this massive signature that it's someone of importance though. Vegeta appears from this ship and has several scars over his whole body. His physique is much more toned and he has significantly more pure muscle on his frame. His eyes hold nothing but focused fury that has been used to hone his craft. Kakarot, Vegeta roars, letting out all his rage upon just seeing him. Not this again, Vegeta, Goku says, which just makes the Saiyan even angrier. Vegeta spent around 1 year outside his special chamber and 9 whole years inside it, which brings the total to around 10 full years of training. The chamber doesn't have the exact 1 day to 1 year ratio that the hyperbolic time chamber does, but it's still a very good ratio. Vegeta forces himself into Super Saiyan, then Super Saiyan 2 with fluidity to get a message across. The next battle will not be like last time. Nappa and Raditz are terrified upon seeing Vegeta so angry like this and back off. Vegeta then speeds forward, ready to attack Goku. Kicking his arms, he manages to make his body move back slightly, but Vegeta is not done. Endless barrage, Vegeta then roars, releasing hundreds of powerful punches on various parts of Goku's body in this form. The air being whipped around with each strike is loud and flows rapidly, creating this translucent aura of wind around Vegeta as he attacks. The ground cracks due to the force applied through his feet, but Goku shells up and takes the impacts head on. As soon as he sees a punch heading his way again, he uses instant transmission to appear behind Vegeta, where he aims for a spinning kick. However, Vegeta dives out the way as soon as he just feels the attack coming, then rolls forward. Goku then goes in to try and attack again, but Vegeta steps back even before Goku thought of moving. Don't think that the second fight was going to be easy, Vegeta shouts, before shouting loudly. His muscles bulge up as he charges this ki of his and the earth begins to shake. Across the world, billboards crack and skyscrapers quake under this immense force. From beside Vegeta, the Earthlings have gathered to see what's happening. Once his transformation completes, Vegeta doesn't seem to be done. You thought this was the end of me, didn't you? No, there's a step ahead, Vegeta shouts before cackling. Let me show you the pinnacle of Saiyan strength, Kakarot, Vegeta shouts. His eyes go green and his aura follows this same colour scheme. He taps into his dormant Uzaru power, remaining in his humanoid state. His mind hasn't gone fully haywire here, but he won't be swayed from this battle. The wrathful state is still made him bloodthirsty and eager for battle. The battle continues and Vegeta swivels around to shoot a kick down on Goku's head. Now, with Goku's base, Vegeta should have the upper hand here. He's trained for 9 more whole years than Goku, but his body is just too strong. Vegeta throws 2 punches that are somewhat slow to him, but pack serious power. However, they land straight on Goku's frame and he doesn't move. Throwing a third punch, Goku makes his torso steel and Vegeta just ends up hurting his wrist with the third strike. Just what is this Saiyan made of? Falling back, Vegeta exhales, calming himself slightly. Then he tenses up completely and balls his hands into tight fists. Here we go, say goodbye Kakarot. Even if you can take my punches, kicks, nobody can take what I am about to do, Vegeta shouts. He begins glowing in an ultra bright aura that makes him look akin to a star. His hair flows wildly as he begins charging this power. His veins continue bulging and honestly look like they're about to pop. That's when he suddenly becomes extremely bright and the light expands outward to encapsulate Goku in it. Nappa and Raditz begin flying away as fast as they possibly can, almost getting cloaked by this burning hot expanding light. Vegeta's final explosion is here, and the explosion wipes off what looks like a whole country from the face of the earth. Goku is in this blast and isn't unhurt by it. The explosive power took a toll on his body, but it seems to have taken an even greater toll on Vegeta. His body is covered in his own blood and he has tears in his skin that go down to his muscle and bone. What did I make you do, Vegeta? Goku then whispers, almost with guilt. He has no clue how he got so strong over this time. Not just with tears in his skin, he has tears in his eyes. Seconds later, he falls straight to the ground and it's over. Vegeta has lost once again. Before anything else can happen, Goku decides to heal him. With him healed, he tries to begin the fight again, but Goku just warns him with his Super Saiyan 3 transformation. The ki that he exudes now should give off a big enough warning. Don't do anything rash, Vegeta. I've given you a second chance, so take it, Goku commands, with his Super Saiyan form wiping most of his bubbliness away. Vegeta wants to continue fighting Goku, but that's all he has. He spent those 9 years developing his power and that final explosion so that he wouldn't die from it, but also that it would possess power far above himself. Even if Goku still eclipsed his strength, that was supposed to be the power that would end it all. Come on, Nappa, Raditz, we're leaving, Vegeta orders. They don't immediately move now that they know the motive isn't to do with the Empire. However, in the face of someone so powerful, it might as well be. After dying, everybody around them has grown stronger. As Nappa looks up, he can see the humans and their power levels are way above even theirs. Humans. This planet was supposed to be full of utter weaklings. How have they been outclassed so greatly? It might even be better and safer for them if they leave. But Nappa then realizes that Vegeta was the one who killed him. Too many thoughts for just a second. They just follow, since they don't have the power or time to make a proper decision. They end up leaving the planet and nobody has a clue as to where they're headed now. For now, Goku continues with his training and his progress is incessant. The only thing that he needs now to reach further is God Ki, but that won't come around anytime soon. Kami is still training, just like Piccolo, where he keeps going and fighting. As for Goten, he's had his father from young to train with, and he's learned to hone his body's abilities. Similar to Gohan, he can't really adapt to things that happen, but he has a strong body that he can freely manipulate. Goku, after seeing Vegeta use the Ikari form, gains the state for himself. Little does he know, he turns into a raging beast that has lost all control. The fate of the planet is looking bleak when he does this, but he manages to return to his senses after some time. Knowing how much damage he can cause with that form, he makes sure to learn to control it within the confines of the hyperbolic time chamber where he's safe from everyone else. The 7-year time skip is complete and the Earthlings are eager to participate in the World Martial Arts Tournament. As they arrive in a group though, 3 mysterious beings land on Earth. Goku can barely sense their ki and doesn't think much of them since the ki is so low. However, he saw them flying and knows they can't just be any ordinary humans. They soon approach them, placing the humans on edge, but then Vegeta, Nappa and Raditz land. Hi there Kakarot, I bet you weren't planning on seeing us here, Raditz says. Oh, don't worry, we're not here to cause any trouble. We went down that path several years ago, but we managed to pull Vegeta out that gutter in the end, Raditz says. Yeah, we're just here to test our might. There's no one else we could find that could even hold a flame to our power. You Earthlings though, you guys are no joke, I must admit, Nappa says, cracking his knuckles. With that, these Saiyans seem a lot more pleasant, but Goku remains on edge. The tournament begins and Gohan is up against Kibito. Gohan never had the special training period in the chamber with his father, so most of his potential is left untapped. Screaming at the top of his lungs, a vein bulges on his forehead as he strugglingly reaches Super Saiyan. Upon doing so, there's a heavy strain on his body and he ends up dropping to a knee after just a few seconds. That's when Yamu and Spopovich swoop in out of nowhere, stealing his energy to leave. However, they aren't anywhere near as pleased once they realise the little energy they managed to acquire. Goku teleports ahead of them, grabbing them both with enlarged arms. Who are you two? Answer yourselves now, Goku asks boldly. These guys aren't the smartest fighters and immediately look for a fight. Yamu falls back from Goku's elongated arm and chucks a ki blast at him, only to see him slip out the way by moving his head just slightly. You didn't answer my question, Goku furthers. Yamu, still not convinced, rushes in to try and punch him, only to get slapped away by Goku's long noodle-like arm. After this smack, the arm comes shrinking back to normal size. Spopovich now looks on edge and doesn't just blindly rush in like his partner. We're just messengers, Yamu exclaims, making Goku intrigued. Messengers to who? Their silence. Goku quite frankly has had enough of this and continues with even more authority. If there's a threat to innocent people here, he needs to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. They then take him to Babbili's spaceship, then the Saiyans and some of the Earthlings arrive here too. Shin and Kibito are here too. Dabura comes flying out the spaceship and aims straight for Kibito. Lifting his hands up, he looks to deliver a finishing blast, but Goku arrives by his side to grab one of his extended arms and to hurl him away. He is sent crashing into the ground and tumbling back, then Goku races after him. All it takes is a single gut punch and he's left to fall to his knees. Goku's raw power is something he certainly can't contend with, but there's one thing left for him to do. He spits at Goku and he blocks it with his hand. That's when he sees it turning to stone. It's quite a peculiar thing, and he watches this stone mass grow from his hand and reach past even his elbow. However, this spit will do nothing. Goku can freely change the state of his body anyway. Therefore, the stone part of his arm just returns to normal Saiyan flesh. Dabura's attack is futile against him. Looking at this, Dabura takes this chance and flies off before Goku can do anything more, rushing into the ship. This is where Babidi beckons them in, pitting them against his strongest fighters. Vegeta takes on the first, Pui Pui, and puts him away in seconds. As for the second, Goku takes on Yakan, and Super Saiyan is all that is needed to make him consume too much light energy and explode. The final fight for Dabura is taken this time by Nappa. He wants to show off what the three Saiyans have been working on and feels strong enough to get the job done. Nappa, with his gargantuan arms crossed, stands ahead of Dabura. The Demon King spits straight at him, but he evades after seeing what happened to Goku. He's seen him manipulate his body and knows that he has that ability. Just letting that spit touch him might have made things end differently. What a disgusting technique, he says, before ascending into Super Saiyan with his arms still crossed. Leaning forward, he then sweeps right in and kicks Dabura through a whole rock pile before clobbering him with slow but powerful punches. These attacks aren't even his full power, but they're enough to humiliate Dabura and get the message across. There is no competition between them. Nappa is the clear superior. Dabura, being the arrogant warrior that he is, struggles to stomach this humbling fight and continues on with rage. Swinging in a punch at Nappa, he slips past it and watches it just whip past him. That's when Nappa then swings around, launching a full power energy wave at point blank range. He thinks that he's done the job, but nothing happens. Nappa is then revealed with no injuries whatsoever. Grabbing Dabura straight by the head, he squashes the puny thing into the ground. This makes him scream and flail around, struggling to free himself. In reaction, Nappa just slams it again, then again to suddenly stop his resisting. His limbs flop to either side of him and the job is already done. Dabura has been defeated by Nappa. After this touching, something peculiar happens. Nappa is teleported back to the ship, then Vegeta can feel his mind being affected. Now, he is more than strong enough to resist this. At first, he just stands there like nothing's happened. However, he looks at Kakarot and wonders if this growing evil that he can feel is just what he needs. Nappa and Raditz tried their best to get him off the toxic road of trying to take him down. After numerous times, the message became clear that there was nothing that he could do. But no, all they've done is made him weak, taken that burning flame, that burning desire for power away. What sort of Saiyan has he become? He doesn't need family, he doesn't need power, he needs battle. Dropping to his knees, he begins screaming and transforms as he feels his control letting loose. The Majin symbol is branded on his forehead and soon enough Majin Vegeta is born. Finally, my conviction has returned to me, Vegeta comments. His rage has grown far more compared to the canon version of Majin Vegeta. He truly has returned to his evil, vengeful self. They're transported to the World Tournament grounds and Vegeta ends up killing a load of random people. For Babidi to also get what he wants, Goku and Vegeta need to fight. Therefore, they're teleported away and Goku reluctantly engages in this match with him. Come on then Kakarot, show me what you're made of, Vegeta says, powering up into his Super Saiyan 3 Ikari form. He is cloaked in his flowing green aura, but Goku reacts in kind. His smile wipes off his face for a short time, but then it returns to normal after a few seconds. Vegeta blasts forward, laughing from the new power that the magician has bestowed upon him. Thrusting forward his fist, all it does is miss the target and miss by a somewhat long shot. Goku grabs his next punch, squeezing it until it starts cracking. Then he doesn't stop. He grows the hand that is grabbing onto Vegeta to deal even more damage, making him drop to his knees and shout in pain. Stop this needless fighting, Vegeta, I don't want to fight you, Goku commands. Vegeta then uses his free hand to thrust Ki Blast after Ki Blast straight at him, but these attacks also don't make him budge, even his Gi isn't affected. Goku then uses his other fist, turns it into a ball of concrete and repeatedly smashes Vegeta's face with it. He's relentless and Vegeta can't really do anything to stop this assault. Pulling his other hand, he also cloaks it with tough concrete and begins throwing punch after punch. Vegeta can't do anything to stop this whirlwind of attacks since they come with such swiftness and explosion. Soon he is left on the ground with a mouth of bubbling blood. Stop this rage, stop this anger, Vegeta. Look at where it's gotten you. Your whole life is not battle, 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 Goku insists. Vegeta then tries to say something, but a mouthful of blood is making things quite difficult. He then spits the blood out, turns to slowly raise onto his hands and knees with his head still aimed downward. You don't know what it is, you don't know what it means, you've always been first place. You will never know what I feel. Vegeta shouts. I should be above everybody, my class, my title, my name demands such, Vegeta continues. But you're not, so just let it be, Vegeta, Goku replies. No, never, Vegeta says. Never, he roars, before glowing brightly. Goku knows what he is about to do and just shakes his head. A massive explosion goes off and the entire ground is flattened. His final explosion has been utilised yet again. The ground that they were battling on has been destroyed now, with Vegeta left unconscious but not dead. His immortality means that no matter how hard his final explosion is, he will never die from it. However, it does leave him heavily injured. With such a massive explosion of energy, it is ready. Buu is ready to be released yet again. With Vegeta down, Goku heals him slightly, but not enough for him to just spring up and continue fighting. He doesn't wake up and then flies off to see what's happening. With that massive bank of energy that Buu could draw from, it doesn't make things any better. Buu has been spawned as an even stronger menace than we know him to be. Goku continues to look on without fear though. He hasn't seen someone stronger than himself for a long time, so has his hopes up. Alright Goku, let me get a try first, Raditz says, stepping ahead of his brother. He performs some light stretches before looking ready to go. He powers up into Super Saiyan, then flies at full throttle. The amount of power that he has gained is quite surprising to Goku. Just what sort of training did Vegeta put these two through for them to reach these levels? A single punch to Buu's face opens it wide, dispersing this once collected pink mass into just flying droplets that spread around the fighting scene. Each punch continues causing this level of damage to Buu. It's like he's made out of chewing gum. His body holds no sense of integrity and durability in the face of Raditz's pure power. What is this thing? It can't even hit back, Raditz says, before backflipping out the way of a backhand from Buu. He then shoots an energy blast at him, but he zips around it to smash Buu's head into the floor beneath his shoe. It breaks apart, then he grabs one of its arms to swing it around and into the air. That's when he fires off his double Sunday, hitting Buu right up. He laughs as he pours power into his attack, but a single piece of pink mass silently latches onto his foot. Soon it begins to grow quite big, and other minuscule pieces of mass grab onto him and expand. Buu looks like a complete mess after taking that hit, but Raditz then looks down to see his arms being pulled to his sides by this pink goo. He can't even resist, then he is fully submerged. Fat Buu then pulls him forward and absorbs him to give off a very bright light. After such light is given off, a new version of Buu is here, Majin Buu, Raditz absorbed. He has no shirt now, but with a long appendage on his head, he looks similar to Buuhan. Wow, would you look at that? New power, Buu says, a little more childishly than would be expected from a being of his appearance. The base of this absorption isn't Super Buu but Majin Buu, so he does act a lot more childlike. Since Majin Buu is the base of the absorption and not Super Buu, he acts a lot more childlike, but he still acts somewhat like Buuhan due to Raditz being absorbed, and he has some of his mentality. A punch lands on him and he just moves with the force to retreat, giving himself some distance. Now that there is more distance between him and Buu, he shows him just what he's made of. Growing himself to make him several meters tall, he also enters his Super Saiyan 3 Akari form and towers over the pink beast. He then pulls back and begins charging his ultimate attack. I'm sorry Raditz, we will wish you back as soon as we possibly can, Goku states. Those watching on are left to just watch, and the Kais didn't know just how strong Goku was. He's never really been made to use such power, but Goku is aware of how durable he is. He just saw Raditz turn most of his body to grey ash, but he still managed to heal and return to his original state. If he wants to take down Buu here, he needs to make sure that he gets the job done on the very first try. This is what he does, and Buu tries his best to resist the energy wave for a good half a second before it pushes past his scorched hands. His pink flesh not only breaks apart but burns and breaks down into greyish ash, like what happened to Kid Buu and Goku's cannon Spirit Bomb. This pretty much ends the fight, and the crew then use the Dragon Radar to assemble the Dragon Balls. This brings Raditz back to life shortly after. After these events, the Saiyans choose to stay on Earth. Vegeta almost goes solo for some time, just thinking about life and what he's going to do going forward. He isn't sure about his position in things right now, and he's off the radar for a while. During this time, Goku is training with the other Saiyans, Raditz and Nappa. They unlock Super Saiyan 3 and the Ikari forms for themselves, learning to control it in the trusty hyperbolic time chamber. Beerus then wakes up dreaming of the Super Saiyan God. You're going to be in for quite a battle, Beerus. Some Saiyans have remained alive and they are formidable warriors for people without God Ki, Whis explains. No way a Saiyan could match me without God Ki. That means they don't even have this Super Saiyan God form that I want, so there's no point, Beerus replies. That we don't know. Just head over there and see what's happening, Whis explains. Beerus doesn't have his hopes very high, but they both get set on their way there. Soaring down toward Earth, they arrive when the three Saiyans are just meditating. Beerus lands and Whis does too, with his staff at the ready. Goku opens one eye and looks spooked by the two individuals before him. Do not be alarmed, Saiyan, Whis says. Who are you two? Goku then asks, with a quick and anxious voice. He was not expecting their arrival. Beerus and Whis explain who they are, then explain why they're here. Now they know what Beerus is here for, a fight. They're a lot more intrigued, but don't really know what's going on still. Nappa decides to try first, cracking his knuckles with arrogance. After training with Goku, he believes strongly in his own abilities. He's had Zenkai after Zenkai to boost himself and reach levels that he never even thought possible to reach. Racing forward, he tries to punch Beerus but misses the mark completely. He continues on and utilizes this gained impetus to put power into each subsequent punch through his strides. Beerus still swivels around each one with his hands behind his back as if it's no problem at all. Alright then, you're not a pushover after all, Nappa says, before stepping back and crouching slightly. With a shout, he ascends into his Super Saiyan form, then leaps ahead to thrust his knee toward Beerus. All he does is lift a finger and stop his attack before it can reach him. Nappa stays still for a moment, then tries to catch him slipping with a swinging kick, but Beerus is far too swift. These attacks will not land, no matter how hard he tries. Therefore, Nappa holds nothing back. Releasing all his power in the form of his Super Saiyan 3 Akari form, he hurls forward his Bomber DX attack at Beerus. It hits him right on and has a deep, loud booming noise to follow its detonation. However, Beerus doesn't even look the slightest bit injured. Before Nappa can even react, Beerus jumps ahead, flipping around acrobatically to then tap him on the neck. This launches him back and sends him tumbling, but he doesn't stop there. Spitting out a little bit of blood, he charges forward again only to receive 2 light taps to his chest. His body freezes up from each hit until he just falls down. Raditz is quite surprised that his friend was taken down so easily, and so Goku decides that he'll be next. If Nappa was taken down like that, Raditz most likely won't stand a chance either. Goku begins in his base form, making a stance and slowly edging forward. Both parties don't do much at first, but Goku then stretches his arm out for a cannon punch. It misses Beerus, but he then retracts the arm and throws a multitude of these punches in quick succession. Raditz, that watches on from beside them, can't even see the punches that are being thrown. However, what he can see is the blurriness of his extended arms whooshing past and not onto Beerus. The hits aren't actually landing. Just who is this guy, Raditz whispers as the fight continues. No matter what Goku can do, he can't land a hit on him. He just moves so fast and intelligently that it's nearly impossible. The alarming thing for Beerus though is that as he fights, he can feel Goku increasing in speed an alarming amount. He's gotten many times faster in just the time that they've taken to have this fight. Just as Beerus zips past a hit, he doesn't expect Goku's sudden increase in speed and receives one of his punches right to the face. It doesn't really knock him back, but it's surprising nonetheless. What has just happened? Somehow this fighter just continued to get quicker and quicker. It did look like he was going all out to begin with as well. Beerus snaps forward quicker than can be perceived by Raditz and kicks Goku in the stomach. Goku then feels pain for the first time in a long time but doesn't move. All this hit does is reinforce his body's durability to make him stronger. Beerus lands another kick to the same body part only to see that it's futile as well. He just can't quite get his head around why this is happening. Therefore, he wants to get a message across. Pulling back his fist, he puts a lot of force into this next punch, and I mean a lot. He lands it cleanly on Goku's chin and manages to knock him back a step or so from the force behind it. The whipping of his fist sounded like a whip crack, but Goku still heals and looks fine. What is going on? After this, they summon Shenron and get Goku to become the Super Saiyan God. This is when Vegeta then gets alerted to the scene and arrives there to see what's happening. That's when he sees them, Beerus and Whis. He looked terrified to see them after knowing how Beerus treated his father. However, everyone around doesn't seem scared at all. Is this because of Goku? He knows it is, but no. Beerus is supposed to be above all mortals like them. There's no way that Goku has surpassed him as well, right? Goku and Beerus ascend into the skies, with Goku now in his Super Saiyan God form. Oh, hello Vegeta, I didn't think that you were still alive. How come I'm only seeing you now? What are you doing here? Vegeta then asks, with authority, disregarding everything that he has just said. I'm here to test out the Super Saiyan God here. Don't worry, you can watch. Just keep your distance to stay safe, Beerus says. Vegeta is infuriated by this mocking tone, like he's someone that he has to watch out for. However, he takes his word for it for now and retreats. I saw how strong you were before, so I won't be holding back much now, Beerus states. Great, I'm not planning on holding back either, Goku then furthers. He shoots forward his 2 lengthening arms, but Beerus swats them both away. Goku manages to latch onto him with one though, pulling and bringing his whole body forward. That's when he strikes him in the head, then follows up with an uppercut to the chin. Beerus falls back, then throws out one of his Hakai blasts. Whis' eyebrows raise upon seeing Beerus get so serious here. That blast will erase Goku if he isn't careful. Luckily, he meets the blast with one of his own that cancels out the power. Through the smoke though, Beerus catches him by surprise with a knee to his chest. The two exchange blows and Beerus' blood is rushing and boiling at this great chance that he's had to fight Goku. It's totally exhilarating to be pushed to the edge here, and by a mortal for that matter. It feels like his spars with Whis or his fights with his brother Champa. Goku crosses his arms over to take 3 punches from Beerus before shooting up a kick to his chin, followed by an energy wave delivered at point blank range. The blast works quite well and Beerus looks to see a minimal bruise on his hand. This guy has actually worked up his strength to hurt him, no way. He's been having his fun, but now he's going to put his all into this. His fury aura manifests and his eyes glow. The fact that you're immortal and have pushed me to this point is a great achievement on your part. Be proud of yourself, Beerus comments. I will be. I guess I'll get serious now too, Goku says. Even he's been holding back a tad and reveals the full strength that he's now acquired from this little scuffle they've had. His fiery red aura meets Beerus' dark purple one and they collide. Slamming their hands together, they push at each other hard, but Goku's hands are swiftly pushed back. At first, Beerus is clearly overpowering him. Their heads slam together as they push, but out of nowhere Goku is getting fueled with strength. He slowly starts pushing Beerus' hands back again until they're at the center. Before they can continue pushing, Beerus bails out of the push and kicks Goku on the chest. The hit does nothing at all. Goku then whips a kick onto Beerus' face, followed by 2 quick punches to his face, but Beerus just about manages to slip under the third. The third punch is held over his head, then he creates 2 Hakai blasts below it. Slamming them together to form one larger one, he throws this one up. It goes flying into the sky as Goku has almost disappeared out of nowhere. That's when he appears behind Beerus with what seems like 8 massive arms. That's when he fires off a barrage of punches from all of these 8 arms. Using just 2 arms to act as defense for Beerus, there's little that he can do. They continue to rain on him with each packing significant power. Blood is shot out his nose and mouth from the strikes and he feels heavy strain on his flesh and bones. It's like his arms are on fire as they've been taking these hefty blows. Once Goku is done, Beerus looks full of rage. To be humiliated like this is not what he was expecting. Whis no longer looks as calm and laid back as before. Even if he wants Beerus to have his fun, he has to protect him. Whis, no, stay back, Beerus says, looking down with his palm aimed at him. He could already tell that Whis was getting on edge after that combination. However, Beerus is not cowardly enough to take his help, he assumes. His aura begins to rage around him and he roars vehemently. Beerus is almost a different person to the god that they met earlier today. This version of him is something that even Vegeta has never seen before too. He usually just messes around and has monstrous power anyway. Now that he's using every ounce of strength that he has, it's terrifying. The clouds around them darken from the current being shot out into the air and even the ground rumbles. They can feel the thickness in the air, the intensity, mortal versus god, a true vicious battle. Goku reacts in kind and the two then release their strongest energy waves. The 2 blasts collide, releasing particles of energy that soar around the area. These stray blasts even slam into mountains and buildings, immediately destroying them. Whis then decides to coat them with a strong energy shield to keep their power inside of it. Goku starts off at a loss, with his Kamehameha inferior to Beerus' stronger energy wave. Then his blast starts moving to Beerus and pushes straight past the midpoint. His body is growing stronger as he struggles. It reaches close to Beerus until his blast is extremely short. Goku roars, pouring every last bit of strength into this beam struggle. Suddenly, the energy shield around them vanishes and Whis whips up Beerus before the Kamehameha can hit him. It blasts straight past Whis back and into the sky. I told you not to help me, Beerus shouts. I apologize, but it's my duty to protect you, Beerus, Whis explains. I didn't need protecting, I was doing just fine, Beerus says. Looking down to his body, he didn't even notice it, but it feels like it's on fire. Every muscle, every bone. He used up a lot of his energy and got hurt quite badly, so now he just doesn't feel great. Whis does save him by healing his body and restoring his clothes, then the fight is done. You did extremely well, Saiyan, I must admit, Beerus says, almost as if he's forcing those words out. Those watching on below can't help but applaud Goku, who not only put on a show for them, but basically saved them as well. It's great to see that they can live another day due to their protector. That's when Raditz and Napalm drop to their knees in front of him. Please Beerus, may you help and train us, Raditz says, scared to even look up at him. Not a chance, but Whis here could help with that. He's way stronger than me or your friend Goku here, Beerus says. He still finds it hard to comprehend what's happened here. This mortal to his right is stronger than him and could beat him to a pulp if he wanted to. Just who is he? Vegeta decides to humble himself and join them because he knows that he has to. If he wants to reach their level of strength and actually grow, he needs to get whatever power that they're going to get now. So the 4 Saiyans are off with Beerus and Whis back to his planet. As they race, the Saiyans find the air getting a bit thin, but Goku feels nothing at all. That's when he asks for Whis not to keep him in his bubble of air. The Saiyans think that what he's trying to do here is suicide. Saiyans need air to survive. However, when he rises into the abyss of space, he finds that the urge to breathe slowly fades away and leaves him feeling different but calm. His body has adapted to not requiring air and is now functioning as normal. The Saiyans train hard under Whis, with the main focus being on Goku. As much as he likes his bubbly attitude, the power that he has still rests in Immortal. Whis is commanded by the angelic code, but Goku follows his own morals and desires. Anything could happen that could tip Goku over the edge and make him seriously dangerous. Even Whis could spar him and after not too long end up inferior. That leaves Goku with focused special training that relies more on him training on his own, but using light sparring to try and learn Ultra Instinct. Somehow at just the first try, his body manages to use it in his base form. It's similar to the version of this technique that Roshi showed off in the Tournament of Power. Whis fires off with quick but light tap-like strikes that he uses to try and get Goku's body to move on its own. Since this version of Ultra Instinct is by far incomplete, it's not really working at first. Goku is growing faster and stronger to try and counteract these hits, but this is an inefficient route. Instead, his body begins using an alternate form of adaptation, using more Ultra Instinct. His Ultra Instinct starts perfecting itself and dodging more and more attacks. Goku is the first to unlock Super Saiyan Blue, then thinks about the form that Kami gave to him from King Kai. Even with Goku's durable body, King Kai made sure to say that Super Saiyan and Kaioken should never be mixed. The forms are too draining for ki and stamina, so if they're paired together, it will spell trouble for the user. However, Goku is long past the point of just using Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan Blue's form doesn't drain much stamina at all. It isn't on the level of Super Saiyan God that is almost akin to someone else's base form, but it's still impressive. Therefore, Goku tries and succeeds with mixing Kaioken with Super Saiyan Blue. Then he adds on Kaioken times 20 followed by times 30, and he then stops at times 50 once he feels how much strain he gets from trying. It's not impossible though, and he can feel the pain and stress on his body fade away by the second. Frieza is revived and comes back to cause havoc on Earth. He has unlocked his golden state, but he's going to be in for a lot with the Saiyans that are on their way to Earth. Nappa, Raditz, Vegeta and Goku make themselves known and look like new men. They exude a sense of power and boldness that they didn't before, and even Frieza can catch on to this. It's quite surprising to see that the men that used to kneel before him have grown so strong in this time. However, he's confident in his own power. After training and growing so strong in just months, it just fuels his superiority complex even further. "I thought that you killed him, Kakarot," Nappa says. "I did. It looks like he was wished back somehow," Goku replies. "To be honest, Nappa and Raditz, I could say the same to you. My records had you both as deceased before." He goes silent, thinking back to his own death, but shakes his head and puts that moment behind him. "Anyways, we're all back, and it's great to see you all," Frieza says, with a fake smile on his face. Vegeta can't help the anger from his fake attitude and just grunt with growing rage. "Let me face him," Vegeta said, stepping forward of his three companions. Goku got the chance to face and beat Frieza before. Now he believes that he should get a shot. Frieza steps out of his pod and looks ready to fight. Vegeta does too and swings his right leg back to make a battle stance. Frieza transforms and enters his final form from the jump, but Vegeta remains in his base. In his eyes, that is all that he will need. Frieza begins their fight by advancing, but the prince just backhands him across the cheek and launches him off his feet. He's sent sliding and rolling back and left with a red hot mark on his face. "Come on, is that all you have, Frieza?" Vegeta asks, beckoning him to try and hit him again. Frieza then shouts with irritation, entering his buff form to slug ahead his fists. Vegeta steps past each punch swiftly and elegantly before uppercutting Frieza in his chest. This knocks the wind right out of him and drops him to a knee. Unlike before where Canon, Goku and Frieza were battling it out as equals in their bases, Vegeta is far above that level. Frieza just shakes his head before shaking off his body too. "Okay, you're stronger than I expected, however I'm sorry to say that I will also be way stronger than any of you could have ever expected," Frieza then says. The ground cracks as he starts powering up and the crew behind look intrigued from the sheer power that he releases. It's clear that Frieza's been doing his homework. Golden Frieza is here and he can't wait to begin the fight. Storming toward Vegeta, he just slams into him and throws him right off his feet. Elbowing him across the jaw, he knocks Vegeta's head sideways, leaving him open for a kick to his lower torso. As he slides back, Frieza pounces, unleashing a relentless assault consisting of numerous punches, kicks and slams. Vegeta tries to keep up with Frieza in his base form, but as the fight carries on, it's clear that won't be happening. Just as he continues trying to fight, his body glows with a lightly golden aura. He steps back, then shouts, letting out the pent-up anger from getting repeatedly hit. Super Saiyan Vegeta has returned, but he doesn't stop here. His hair droops down and grows long, revealing his Super Saiyan 3 form, the near pinnacle of normal ki. Vegeta feels like this will be enough. Frieza shouts and dashes ahead to continue, but Vegeta speed blitzes him and punches him right in the face. Before Frieza can come to a stop and even think of attacking again, he receives 2 swinging strikes to his ears. Now these hits leave him with a ringing in his ears and with swaying vision. It will take seconds for all these symptoms to wear off, and before they can, he just gets assailed with a number of punches from Vegeta. He coughs out blood, swaying his hands around as he tries to keep the Saiyan away, but it's futile. Vegeta is behind him and rocks him with a strong elbow to the back of his head. Frieza is left to drop to his knees with blood oozing out his nose and mouth. He remains down for a short time before springing up to try and catch the prince by surprise. He shoots out a wide energy wave to try and catch him in at least some part of the splash zone, but he's nowhere to be seen. Appearing in front of him, Vegeta begins using his Akari form and delivers a full power gut punch. This is what ends the fight. Frieza goes from aggressive and furious to weak and in serious pain. He just falls onto his side, rolling onto his back as he continues to hold his stomach. Even after those literal months of training, it wasn't enough. He couldn't triumph against these Saiyans. Please Vegeta, please Frieza, please, before coughing out a mouthful of blood. I'll give you all seriously elite positions in my army. You will be my true right-hand men above any other person in the whole galaxy, Frieza states as he falls out of his golden form. Now he looks terrified. Without a sense of power to protect himself, he's a sitting duck right now. After you destroyed my home planet, my people, forced me to be your guinea pig for years on end. No, I don't think so. The only way you can repay that debt is with your life, Vegeta says, holding a blast to his head. This is when Frieza knows that it's over. He's even too weak to turn over and enact his plan B. Sorbet can see this from afar and is terrified. It truly is over. Curse you, Vegeta, he shouts, before eating a ki blast straight to his face. His body is incinerated on impact and nothing is left of him. Without a need to even return to the past using Whis nifty staff, the fight against Frieza has already ended. Following this, Beerus and Champa have a slight falling out and want to test their universes against each other, therefore the Tournament of Destroyers is on. With these Saiyans so unbelievably strong, they don't even enter the hyperbolic time chamber for those extra years of training. Vegeta, Nappa and Raditz have already unlocked the Super Saiyan Blue evolution forms. With much stronger bases, it has been easier to reach this next step. Also, Goku has unlocked the forms of UI Omen and mastered Ultra Instinct. However, Whis is trying to take things quite slow with him, because no matter what he does, he seems to bloom like a flower. He can grow from almost any form of training and grows at extreme rates. They put Kami on as their first fighter, and he readies himself for the battle at hand. He's up against Botamo and is happy to see that he's back in the main fight again. The Saiyans have outclassed him, he has to admit, but he's kept up with his own training. Kami manages to defeat Botamo using his wits to work around Botamo's immense durability. Next, he is up against Frost. The sly fighter has his poison in his back pocket, ready to use it at a moment's notice, but puts on a facade of likability and pleasantness. Knowing Frieza's race, Kami is dubious of his demeanour, but puts this behind him and begins the fight. Just like how Piccolo began this, Kami shoots off several clones across the arena. I know this isn't your final form. I've seen your species before. Transform, Kami states. Frost does willingly, and then ends with his third form. Kami has never seen this appearance before and is confused. Frost's first form was very similar to Frieza's, but this form is totally unique to him. Frieza actually shot up from his second form to final back on Namek, so there was no reveal of this state of his. Also, back in Resurrection, Effie also didn't show off many of his forms and went straight from his first to his final one. This isn't your final form, show me your true strongest form, Kami then says. He doesn't sound as nice and amiable as before because he's quite frankly tired of this guy and his fake attitude. His clones simultaneously use Kaioken before closing in on him. Kami begins with using an attack that he created. He likes to call it the Special Beam Cannon. Firing it off at Frost, he manages to slip past it in just the nick of time before thrusting himself into a clone to destroy it. Even if they are as strong as Kami, they won't last long if hit by Frost head on. Then the clones fully close in on him, attacking him from various angles. At first, Frost easily manages the attacks coming from all around him, but it soon becomes a struggle. He gets caught with easy shots that he should be blocking or evading, but the sheer volume of them makes it hard for him to deal with. In the end, he lets out all of his ki for a sudden burst of his aura, destroying the clones that are simultaneously trying to attack him. He can finally breathe once again and has only one person to deal with. However, the clones appear yet again to cause him even more trouble. Kaioken times 20, they all shout, now becoming 10 times stronger. This might be an issue. Frost looks around and sees the clones whizzing around him at insane speeds. He can't even track them as they continue to move around him. They leave trails of red energy, which is basically all that Frost is left to work with here. Frost gets hit on his back and sent flying forward, then gets hit with a kick to the side of his face, sending him into an uncontrolled sausage roll. He springs back to his feet, then tries his best to navigate the situation, but can't. He is then grabbed by two clones beside him with their elongated arms and can't even move. This has to end here. Grabbing onto both their arms, he's sneaky with the use of his poison, and the clones poof away out of nowhere. Kami spent some time charging his ki and was surprised with how easily the clones were destroyed. He knows that they aren't particularly durable, but they can't poof away from just being touched, right? As for the other clones that try to take their place, they are also swiftly dismantled by Frost, even though they're way faster and stronger. This is when some of the Universe 7 participants look forward in their seats. Something fishy is definitely going on. Kami shoots his special beam cannon straight at Frost, but he jumps over it and punches him, sending him straight out the ring. How did he lose? He was winning with basic Kaioken, then lost after going up to ×20, Raditz asks, confused. That's really weird. That Frost guy was giving me bad vibes from as soon as I saw him, Nappa furthers. However, they've got to continue fighting, and so Nappa is put against Frost to try and take him down. The Saiyan walks on with confidence, being the muscular strong man that he is. Nobody's going to take him down, he believes. He cracks his knuckles as he walks forward, then stands firmly. Seconds later, the fight begins, and Nappa can't help but laugh. You're a fraud. Don't think that win went over our heads. You cheated, Nappa says. Of course not. I'm just fighting using the strength that I've worked so hard to acquire over all these years. Nappa's not having any of it. Jumping forward into a stride, Frost can't even react to his first hit. It's in the form of a heavy punch that lands straight on his head, leaving him disoriented and on the floor. There's a whole 10 seconds, and after that he just falls unconscious. The fight is over. I told you were a fraud, Nappa says, before waiting for the next fighter to show themselves. ADAPTABILITY continues the fight, and even though the metal fighter is durable, it can't match Nappa's raw power. Each punch that he throws sounds like a gunshot as it lands, and he can easily crush the tough metal that ADAPTABILITY is made of. Nappa stands with his arms behind his back as he awaits the following opponent. A smile is beaming on his face. He knows nobody here can match him. However, his smile becomes a genuine one once he sees who steps foot on the ring. Cabba, a Saiyan. I feel like this fight of ours is going to be a little more interesting than you think, Nappa asks. I hope so, Cabba says, trying to hide his fear the best he can. He sweeps back his right leg and enters a fighting stance, and Nappa doesn't move an inch. I don't want to fight in my base state anymore. Let's carry on as Super Saiyans, Nappa urges him. Super Saiyan? I don't know what you're referring to. Nappa's jaw drops upon hearing this. It's become so natural for him to see the Super Saiyan forms that he almost forgot that they're literally the first Saiyans in generations to unlock them. They haven't even heard about anybody that could use Super Saiyan Grade 2 before them, let alone just the Super Saiyan form itself. Oh wow, your universe's Saiyans can't use Super Saiyan? That's a bummer. I thought our fight would be a lot better than it's gonna be, Nappa then says. Alright then, let's go, Nappa shouts, before showing off his Super Saiyan form. Cabba looks flabbergasted but also in awe upon seeing this glowing golden state of his. It makes him look akin to a deity surrounded by golden light beaming off his skin. He dashes forward toward Cabba, still showcasing immense speed in his advance. A single punch knocks the wind right out of Cabba and drops him to his knees. That's when Nappa swings around a low kick, striking him right in the jaw. These vicious attacks of Nappa's keep coming in, and Cabba can't even see what comes. The attacks are strong and look slow to the Universe 7 Saiyans, but to Cabba they move like the lightning. One moment his arm is by his side, and in the next it's smashing into his face. He cowardly retreats, wiping blood from his face, trying to just get his senses back. The ring continues to sway even though he's still, and his ears are ringing from the kicks and hucks they've been forced to endure. Yield now and I'll go back to that pesky planet Sadala and destroy it with all its inhabitants. It happened in our universe, so how about we make things even, Nappa asks, crouching down so he's almost face to face with Cabba. He then grabs him by the shirt and pulls him forward just enough so that his knees lift off the floor. That's when he's had enough. Cabba grabs onto his arm, then he suddenly feels him pulling with a lot more force than before. I won't let you, Cabba shouts, powering up into Super Saiyan. After being beaten down so badly, Cabba's entered this sort of fight or flight mode. There's no room for thought and calculation. He needs to use every ounce of raw power that he can to try and make it out of this. Cabba manages to pull Nappa's arm off, then fires off with a powerful roundhouse kick, followed by a series of punches that Nappa starts stepping back from. This gives some of the Universe 6 spectators hope that that they can come out of this as the victors. However, Nappa then catches the 30th punch, stopping it completely. Cabba, a little stunned by this, just fires off with another, only to see it get caught all the same. Nappa pulls his arms over so that they cross, then headbutts his opponent before kicking him out the ring. The fight is done. To finish things off, Nappa is up against Hit. He isn't fond of Hit's solemn attitude and wants to get at him for thinking he's so above him and all this. He begins just like how he started with Cabba, punching him in the face only to realise that nothing happens. He then follows through with an elbow only to see Hit almost appear beside him to strike him in the head. Now that strike has some force behind it, it reminds him of his spars with Goku. Continuing on, he tries to fight in his base but acts more vigilantly. Feinting a jab, he then drives down the right only to see Hit almost phase past it to hit him in the face. The strike lands cleanly on his head and leaves him stumbling. Hit then advances using just his ordinary strength and drives up an uppercut to Nappa's chin, followed by a downwards right, then an acrobatic spinning kick to send Nappa sliding to the ring's edge. Dropping to a knee, he spits out the small amount of blood in his mouth before springing back up. His arrogant demeanour has faded and now his face is totally still. Nappa means business now. Erupting with ki, his Super Saiyan 3 Akari form is here. His muscles have grown even more and his beard grows until it reaches down to his chest. He cracks the arena with his first leap, but ends up getting hit from the side. This continues where Nappa explodes forward to try and attack, only to have Hit instantly teleport to his sides to attack from annoyingly awkward angles. After just throwing light attacks for a time, he's been trying his best to pick out Hit's timing. As he throws out a quick but light jab, Hit arrives by his back, but he turns and blocks the incoming punch using his arm. Then right after, he can land a clean kick to Hit's side because he can't just repeatedly use that technique. Firing off with a left hand strike, Hit's head is jerked back, which stops him from seeing what is to come. Nappa fires off with attack after attack, revealing all of his raw strength and power. Soon enough, Hit arrives at the edge of the ring, but the world comes to a near stop as he resorts to his time skip abilities. Whizzing around the burly Nappa, he tries his best to reach him and attack, but Nappa reads him like a book, grabbing his leg to swing him out the ring. Hit has been eliminated. Now you are a handful, Nappa says, reverting to his base form. The fight was great, Nappa admits, bowing to him. Even if he acts arrogantly and is overconfident, he can take a moment to acknowledge someone else's strength. As for Universe 6, they're in quite the pickle. With only one win to their name, through the use of cheating, they've been totally embarrassed by Beerus' finest warriors. Back in their own universe, the Saiyans are straight back to their training. Vegeta is continuing to grow frustrated with this idea of Ultra Instinct. With Goku so strong now, he is still daft enough to think that he can catch up. Going down this path of Ultra Instinct will not get him where he needs to be. He knows that for a fact. Therefore, Vegeta begs the reluctant Beerus to take him under his wing. He's happy that Goku isn't the one coming to him and doesn't like seeing Goku with the throne. If he can train up Vegeta and make him a contender to Goku, it only validates the destruction powers further. Vegeta already begins using Hakai and can destroy material at will. Future Trunks arrives from his own timeline with a metal blade wedged through his whole body. He's losing blood and he's losing it fast. The state that he's in isn't even comparable to the state that he was left in canon. He honestly looks like a corpse. Bulma hastily places him in a capsule where his body can stabilize, but she has to get the Saiyans here as soon as possible. Upon Goku's arrival, he just uses his own magic to heal Trunks. He looks relieved to have his body healthy again, and since that it's been so long since he arrived here, he doesn't react upon seeing Goku. He knows that he isn't Goku Black. Goku, thank God I'm here, Trunks says, with a sigh of relief. He then explains to them why he's been forced to come back here to the past. It's not looking good in his own timeline, and Goku Black is running around like a maniac, causing destruction everywhere. He has Goku's body and he's indestructible. The only way Trunks could make it out was through using wits and his arrogance against him. His mother Bulma was taken in the process though. Vegeta hears this and his eye twitches. He tries his best to hide those feelings of his, as he still wants to be perceived as a nonchalant, resolute warrior. However, knowing that his wife was slaughtered makes his heart sink, but then this sadness and shock turns to rage. He really wants to beat this Goku Black guy to a pulp. The Saiyans are eager to head to the timeline to try and face this Goku Black guy for him, but Trunks isn't as eager. He knows that the Saiyans are strong, but Goku Black doesn't need to be stronger than anybody to win a fight. His body is totally indestructible. What do you mean he can't be hurt? You haven't even seen a sliver of our new power. We're nothing like the people that we were when you were last here, Nappa says. No, I still can't just let you fight him. He grows and adapts to whatever you put against him. We tried electrocuting him, but his skin became totally resistant to electricity. We tried placing him underwater and suffocating him, but he grew gills. We even tried a deadly poison, but it only knocked him out for about a day. Then when he came back, the poison was useless against him. Trunks rambles on. The rambling shows the clear frustration that he's had with facing this guy. Whoa, I wasn't expecting him to be that much like Goku, Nappa says. The Saiyans remain silent for a short time. It looks like they can't just rush in there and use their brute strength to take him down. What doesn't kill him only makes him stronger, and that means they have to play their cards right. This leaves them with the evil containment wave, a way to keep him trapped, but even then they wonder if he could adapt to that state and free himself from the constraints of the electric rice cooker. Even if he does, they can't think of a way of how that would make him stronger. It would only make the attack useless, therefore they try it out. Goku learns the evil containment wave from Roshi himself, and it only takes an hour or so before it looks like Goku has it down. With the greater need for him to get the technique down, he can just focus and take in what Roshi is saying to him as well as he can. The Saiyans all leave to the past, where Goku Black finds them nearly instantly. He almost appears in front of them, showing off his speed. Trunks, you were foolish enough to return. Wow, you mortals never cease to amaze me, Goku Black says. I really don't like the sound of this guy, Nappa says. Tell me about it, Trunks says. You're a bad guy. You've done a lot of bad things, and you need to go down for it, Goku says. This bold claim of his only leaves Goku Black with a chuckle. Me? Take me down? You don't know what I've been exposed to here. I will not be defeated, he replies, with even more boldness. Goku leaves no time for chit-chat and immediately gets to work. The rice cooker is ready, and he begins sucking in Goku Black. He moves with flawlessness and fluidity, showing off his talent. No matter what Goku Black tries to do here, he's pretty much stuck. His body isn't really in his control anymore, and he soon starts getting closer and closer to the rice cooker. Goku finishes off the technique and sucks him right in, finishing off the containment. The cooker lid is placed on, and the containment is complete. As the Saiyan places the lid on, that's when Goku sees it. He collected the wrong tag from Roshi for the electric rice cooker. Therefore, it's only a few seconds before Goku Black has been released yet again. Don't think it will be that easy to defeat me, Goku Black states. These foolish humans have put me through every extreme circumstance possible. There are no more options left for any of you. Now this isn't good. Judging from his abilities, it looks like the technique won't even be possible anymore. Everyone stays back for now, hesitant to rush in there and do something. This is quite frankly because they don't know what they can do. They know Goku, they fought him for years on end. He's a real pickle to fight. The guy doesn't even get hurt by any attacks and can easily beat you when holding back a whole bunch. The first to rise to the occasion though is Vegeta. Let's hope this training has gone to plan, Vegeta whispers to himself, hiding his fear from those below. He arrives at eye level with the being and holds his arm up. Begone, he calls out. He begins using the Hakai technique and it works like a charm. Goku Black just smiles at him, but he won't be doing much against this. His body starts looking like sand and he does look shocked for a second, but then his arrogance returns. Did you really think trying to turn me to sand would work? Goku Black asks, before the sand starts retreating to his fingertips. A vein pops up on Vegeta's forehead as he tries to work the technique, but Goku Black is resisting it by just manipulating his body to return back to an ordinary shape. That's when Vegeta begins using all the power that he can in Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Powering this technique further, it starts doing its job. Goku Black remains confident at first, but then the sand reaches past his elbow. It then reaches up to his face and his whole body starts breaking down until nothing of it remains. He has been erased. The cloud of sand falls from the skies, and then Vegeta looks up to see Zamasu that has appeared out of nowhere. Zamasu races down there with his arm cocked back and ready for an attack. However, Vegeta retreats, then begins using the same technique that can bypass even his immortality. Zamasu is erased as well. After these two erasures, Vegeta's stamina is spent. His efficiency with using the technique is quite poor, but it got the job done anyway. Future Trunks almost can't believe his eyes. These guys really are that strong. Vegeta then descends, flicking his destruction ring before landing. He was no issue at all, he states. Wow, I did not think you were gonna pull that off, Vegeta, Nappa says, surprised as he watches him descend. Future Trunks is more than grateful for their help and is almost brought to tears upon realizing that his timeline is safe once again. Therefore, they return to the present timeline and Future Trunks returns back to the future after sending them back there. Now that they've arrived, they want to continue their training. However, Goku is starting to get very bored. After sparring just Whis and having everybody else unable to hurt him, he's gotten really sad now. He's kind of lost the enjoyment from fighting. This leads him to say for Zeno to try and get the Tournament of Power going. Goku is eager to find somebody that could test him, and since the God of Destructions were allowed to participate at first, he is hopeful of getting a good fight in. However, Beerus isn't as hopeful because he does say that he is the strongest God of Destruction. Even if he does encounter another universe's God of Destruction in the upcoming tournament, it won't be a very good fight for Goku since he most likely will be stronger than them. Before this whole tournament begins though, Goku is up for a little spar with Toppo. The latter is arrogant and having been trained directly under a God of Destruction is understandable. Goku can see this and isn't going to hold back and just lose. He's going to show off a little. Toppo rushes in, throwing a whirlwind of attacks, but each one doesn't even come near landing on Goku. Once the opportunity is there, Goku steps past one of his jabs to throw a massive uppercut, lifting the Pride Trooper straight off his feet. He slams right onto his back and is left with swaying vision on the ground for a short while. However, he erupts in the power of God Ki, springing back up to his feet. He then zooms forward as fast as he possibly can, eager to get his dignity back after that humiliating strike. Throwing all his power into his next punch, it is still dodged by Goku. Another haymaker comes and that is evaded all the same. Goku then backflips out the way of any other strike, landing gracefully. Toppo isn't going to have this humiliation and runs in again only to receive a tap to his neck. This tap to his neck drops him to his knees and he passes out. Just like how Beerus took out Goku on King Kai's planet, Toppo is out cold. Goku wipes off his hands and the fight is done. Who is that guy? Is he even mortal? Kitela shouts, with his hands on his head. He is, don't worry, because you haven't even seen a sliver of his power, Beerus says with pride. The Universe 7 team must be formed, and the first people added are the 4 Saiyans and Kami. Then they add Gohan and Goten to the roster. Goten is quite a talent, and even though he's been taking training rather lightly, he can already use Super Saiyan 3. Gohan has been outdone by his younger brother now that he has pretty much stopped training altogether. However, he does get a lot of strength back when he gets back to training with these Saiyans. He doesn't have the ultimate form since he was never trained by the Kais, but he does have Super Saiyan 2 and acquires that before the Tournament of Power begins. The humans added to the squad are Tien, Yamcha and Krillin. To finish things off, Frieza is added onto the roster because they know that he is quite strong. This 10-man squad is what is used, and they're deployed onto the ring to begin the battle. Goku rushes straight at the Pride Troopers, exploding forward with such speed that he breaks the arena floor and throws some off the ring just from the shockwave released from his run. Oh sorry, I think I went a little overboard there, he says, before the remaining low-level Pride Troopers try and swarm him. That's when he transforms into his Super Saiyan form, throwing those fighters off the ring with his scream to launch them away. His arms fall back to his sides and the fight continues. Vegeta stands before Toppo, who is happy that Goku is occupied right now. Toppo readies himself and jumps at him, flipping to drive down his leg for a stomp. Vegeta easily steps past this hit and moves with such speed that Toppo can't even come near him. However, the tables turn when he begins using his aura of a god state. This form powers him up further and he takes Vegeta off guard with his newly gained speed. Kicking him in the stomach, he throws him off his feet, then throws him down with a downwards right hand punch. He slams into the arena ground and cracks it, but flips back onto his feet. After fighting Goku so many times, he's gotten used to being beat up and hurt in battle. With Beerus' destruction ethos, he knows that being hurt in battle cannot be a reason for him to stop or yield. Even better yet, this is only his base form, it's not like it's the end of the world or anything. His eyes shimmer with blue light and his hair brightens to gold. The hair then lengthens and his Super Saiyan 3 form is here. Let's see how well you do now, Vegeta shouts, before grabbing a loose rock from beneath him. Hurling it forward, he then slams his fist to explode it in his face. Toppo's eyes widen once he sees how skilled Vegeta is with destruction already. Vegeta then continues hurling loose rocks from the arena ground at him, detonating them once they get close to him. All Toppo can do is hold his arms up and endure what is coming. It's not easy and he continues getting battered by these blasts without even being able to see where they're coming from. As they continue getting shot in his direction, he can soon rest once the barrage is over. Just as the smoke begins to thin, Vegeta darts toward him and slams into him, knocking him off his feet. Then he unloads with a wave of punches that digs Toppo further into the arena floor before he pulls him out and throws him off the ring entirely. Nappa is up against Dispo and is annoyed with his pesky speed. In his base form, it's proving to be quite a challenge to hit him. He continues to swerve around him, laughing as he evades all of his best punches. He transforms into Super Saiyan and throws an attack with this new speed of his, but it still does nothing. Dispo just about steps past it before whizzing around him and kicking the back of his knee to drop him. "You can't catch me, I'm the fastest warrior in my universe," Dispo claims as he continues to run around the large napper. It makes him rethink his whole strategy of just fighting with raw power and strength. It does work most times, but when he's against a small nimble fighter like this, his strength means much less. However, that's not to say that it's useless. Now in his Super Saiyan 2 form, he grabs Dispo as he tries to run around him. Under Nappa's grasp, but there's nowhere that he can go. Slamming him into the ground repeatedly, he soon shows no response to the slams. He's gone. Spinning violently, he then throws him out and moves on to his next target. Kami then stands ahead of Frost, ready for a rematch. After getting eliminated by that annoying poison, here he's going to make sure that he gets his get back. "Alright then, Frost, I knew there was something about you. I'll show you the power that you missed up on seeing in our match," Kami says. "Kaioken times 35, he shouts, and his muscles bulge up immediately. The strain on his body is immense, but he just lets out a smile. He's been practicing with these higher levels of Kaioken and can feel his body still struggling to take it, but he knows he won't need much time. Speed blitzing Frost, he knocks the wind right out of him with the first strike. Before Frost can even block or retreat, he eats 2 further head strikes. With such a heavily amplified body, the clear superior fighter is Kami. His strength and speed is way better, and not only that, his fighting technique is much better too. Frost throws out his fist in anger, but Kami elegantly steps past it to kick in his leg, then elbow him in the jaw. This leaves Frost on his hands and knees, with blood dripping from his nose and mouth. Kami delivers a massive agonizing kick to his gut that leaves him to roll onto his back, gasping for air. "This is what you missed out on," Kami shouts, before kicking the side of his body so hard that he's left to slide all the way to the edge of the ring. He manages to catch himself and use all of his remaining strength to pull himself back in. As he raises, he slips and almost falls out the ring. Seeing the edge so close here is terrifying, but Kami closes in on him, so there's no other option. With his Kaioken not lasting forever, it's not like he'll give him much space or time either. He'll have to find a way out of this. Frost pours all of his power into an energy wave as his last-ditch effort to win. However, Kami takes it head on and shoots his special beam cannon straight down its center, overpowering him. He destroys this blast and hits Frost right in his chest. Luckily, it's his upper chest and just tears through mainly muscle and not any major organs. This leaves him to stumble out the ring though and get eliminated. Finally, Goku's eyes are on Jiren. After fighting Toppo and beating him so easily, he's going to be his last hope of entertaining him. Goku runs forward eager to try and get a nice fight in and punches him a little too hard. Jiren coughs out spit and blood from the first hit and rolls away, struggling to even breathe. Even he is totally shocked by that hit. Just who is this guy? He doesn't even have time to think and get angry at this humiliation, he's just too flabbergasted. He strugglingly pushes himself up before weakening and falling down to a knee. "Sorry, I thought you'd be a little stronger," Goku says. As this happens, he can see that his universe is pretty much taking down everyone that's a threat. Dispo took down Hit before facing Goku, and many other strong warriors have also been defeated. "I'm sorry about this too, but I have to save my own universe," Goku says, before driving forward his right fist. It lands straight on Jiren's neck and crushes his windpipe while also knocking him out. Yet again, he's used way more power than he expected. The tournament comes to a close and Universe 7 are by far the winners. The universes are still wished back by the Kain universe, and next is the Broly arc. Frieza here is granted his revival after representing and protecting the universe, and he's immediately up to no good. After finding Broly on planet Vampa, he wants to use him to face the Saiyans. Paragus sees Vegeta's face and almost immediately gets furious. He sends off his son to fight him, and Vegeta is willing to take this challenge. His ring jingles under the blast of wind from Broly's advance, then Vegeta explodes the area around him. Broly looks around hastily, trying to locate him, but then Vegeta strikes him in his back and punches him all the way into an icy mountain from where they've been stuck. He then flies forward like an arrow, striking Broly so hard that he shoots him through the entire mountain that they're in. As Broly falls away, he grabs one of the large blocks of ice from the falling debris and detonates it. The detonation is insane and creates a crater of ice that has melted from the explosion and just turns into flowing water that flows down toward Broly. Before these crashing waves can submerge him, he flies right back up and continues the battle. However, it becomes clear that there's little that he can do. Vegeta is just a superior fighter and can play around with him even in his base form. As they fight though, just like Goku, he seems to be growing and getting closer to his level. That's when Vegeta starts glowing golden and uses his Super Saiyan form to shut Broly down. Punching him once, he is sent flying through numerous icy mountains before slamming deep into one. That's when he loses it. His eyes start to go yellow and his hair looks longer and wilder. He grows taller and more muscular and begins using his wrathful form. breaking out from this icy shout with the vehemence and fury of a beast. Vegeta can hear this shout from hundreds of meters away and is kind of frightened by this. Just what is he going to be fighting now? Broly comes charging toward him and seems much stronger than before. Vegeta actually gets caught with a punch from just being lazy but has to step things up a bit. Broly throws forward his mammoth fist, but he almost appears by his side. Kicking straight into his abdomen, Vegeta aims at the same area again with yet another kick. The two strikes are flawless and land on the mark perfectly. However, as he tries to throw a third, he's grabbed by his head and thrown into the icy ground. Broly continues just letting out all of his anger, repeatedly smashing Vegeta's head into the ground with ferocity. Doesn't let up for a second, but Vegeta erupts with new power as he begins using his Super Saiyan 3 Akari form. The power of his transformation is so great that he even throws Broly right off his body. I've been enjoying the fight, but you've gone a little too far. Let me show you who you're really messing with. Broly takes none of Vegeta's warning in and blasts forward, eager to continue. With his much greater speed and durability, Vegeta can do as he pleases here. He can tank the attacks that land on his person or evade them flawlessly. Soon enough, he leaps back with a backflip and then catches a punch from Broly. What is surprising is that this burly fighter closed the distance between them quite quickly. However, he squeezes and starts really straining his hand before pulling and punching him into the sky. Now it's time for Vegeta to attack. He swerves around in the air with utmost elegance but explosion too, delivering powerful strikes that Broly can't even see coming. In the end, he sends Broly flying up into the air, then zooms up with a large rock in his palm. Ultimate Big Bang attack, he shouts as he shoots down a blue ki blast with his free hand. Before it can reach Broly, he throws down the rock and slams the hand that he threw the rock with. It explodes violently and just adds to the overall explosive power. Vegeta has taken the fight right back, however Broly continues to grow and bridge that gap between them. Soon he grabs Vegeta by the neck as he tries to speed around him, then punch him repeatedly with his open fist. Even after dominating in the fight for so long, Vegeta can't do much here. He just keeps getting punched in the face until he grabs Broly's fist and explodes up into his Super Saiyan Blue evolution form. This has given him a multiplier of several thousand times and he throws Broly's hand to the side like it's nothing. Now there's no competition between him and Broly and the fight gets quite stale. It's just a mindless fighter trying to face someone that is faster, stronger and more skilled. Somebody that has had enough of this battle is Frieza, looking to Parik as he blasts straight through his chest, killing him. As Broly sees this, he loses control completely. Super Saiyan Broly is born. Vegeta sees this and looks a little concerned at first, just from how much ki he can sense coming off him. He feels like a ticking time bomb ready to just let loose with monstrous power at any second. However, he remains at range and blocks the first punch aimed at him before leaping up to evade a ki blast also shot toward him. He can already feel that he has grown stronger and more dangerous just from the way he's attacking. He's moving with a sense of speed that he never had before and it seems to only be growing. Vegeta soon ends up on the back end, fighting from a ranged position and making sure not to just rush in and take unnecessary attacks. As the fight continues, Broly then shouts and begins using his full power Super Saiyan form, the greatest extent to his abilities. With his 10 times boost to his power, it is not looking good for the prince at all. He continues to fall back, trying his best to stay out of the way of his wrath, but realizes that Super Saiyan Blue evolution won't be enough. His power is unmatched right now, but Vegeta immediately challenges that dynamic. His hair turns to a dark purple and Ultra Ego Vegeta is here. His ring jingles under his intense purple aura and he stares down the burly fighter with his violet coloured irises. The game is on now. As Broly tries to attack him again, Vegeta punches him right in the chest and punches him so hard that he breaks his ribs on impact. He coughs out an alarming volume of blood as he retreats away, stumbling down to a knee. Broly slowly takes his strength and lifts back up to his feet, but in this time Vegeta has been charging his signature final flash. The ground rumbles violently as he shouts, continuing to pour strength into it. This is no ordinary final flash either, this is a final flash relying on Hakai energy. The flash has golden sparks, but the main balls of energy have a dark purple hue to them. He fires off the blast, and Chi-Lai tries to save Broly before he is hit, but instead Goku teleports in there and takes Broly out the way. Vegeta is almost stunned when he sees this and cuts off the blast. "Why did you stop the fight? I was only just getting serious there," Vegeta exclaims. "He can barely breathe. You did enough. I'm not sure if he could have risen to the occasion there. That blast would have killed him," Goku replies. Vegeta does understand the motive there and just grunts as he looks away. Returning to his base, the fight is over and Broly is kept with them because they can see some serious potential in them. Also, we can see Goku and Broly's power, that dangerous, uncontrollable strength that can explode up at any moment. They need to make sure that he has that in control, because if he loses himself, everyone everyone around him will be in serious danger. During this time, Goku and the Saiyans remain at home for a time, just spending time with their families. After training so hard for so many years, it's always great to come back and see how things are going. Goku just spends a lot of time meditating, because this is what his main form of training is. Now that Whis is reluctant to enhance his power and make him stronger, he spends a lot more time focusing on his mental skills. This is still something that he can enhance greatly, and his quality of meditation is something that a human could never achieve. His mind can be as intense and chaotic as waves of water in a storm, then as calm to the stillness of the ocean at the click of a finger. As Goku is meditating, he can then see Beerus that arrives in front of him. "Hello?" he asks. Goku doesn't know who he is, but he isn't scared. Firstly, his meditation has properly calmed him, but second, why would he? No mortal can challenge him. "We request that you come with us. We need your help to keep the universe safe from a dangerous person that has just escaped from our confines." "Who is this person?" Goku asks. Beerus then describes the man that they're after, Moro. Goku does not like the sound of that and alerts his Saiyan companions to what is going on. Beerus wasn't going to directly ask for them to come along, but after hearing how strong they are, he certainly isn't against it. They all head over with him on their ship, and as Goku meditates, he ends up sensing Moro and his dark evil ki. It's weird to sense and leaves a tingling to run down his spine, but this makes him even more motivated to take down this dark man. Before they meet him, Goku is up to spar Beerus. Goku begins the fight in his base form and goes in to strike him. Beerus is almost flustered by how fast he moves and gets launched into the corner of the room. The ship shakes violently as Goku throws this attack, and Beerus tries to hide the pain he feels from it. He was not expecting this random morsel to be as strong as he is right now. After feeling that punch, he feels almost relieved that he has such a powerhouse on his side. Goku dashes toward him, but then begins using his after image technique to disorient him. Since he can move so fast, it literally looks like multiple versions of Goku are just there standing before him. Beerus looks skeptical and aims for one, only to see his fist phase through it. He then goes for another, swinging a kick through, only to see the after image vanish. He goes for every single after image and finds that Goku is just repositioning himself so that he isn't the after image that is getting attacked. Beerus just throws out his hands and shouts, releasing his aura to make Goku slide back. Once he sees cracks appearing in the side of the ship, he decides to call things off. That should be enough. They arrive on Namek shortly after, and Raditz is the first to face Moro. It's been a while since he's had the chance to face any of the main threats, and he begins in his Super Saiyan God form. Raditz has come to like this form because it gives him a massive power boost while basically draining none of his stamina. It also lets him use a large portion of Ultra Instinct. Moro tries to punch him, but his frail body has nothing on Raditz. His Ultra Instinct also makes him untouchable for him. He can slip and whiz around each one of his attacks, and he does so with a smile on his face. Finally, he backhands Moro in the most humiliating way possible, before kicking him in the gut so hard that he just drops down to his knees. The kick is so powerful that he destroys the ground that he stood upon. Moro shakes weakly upon taking just these 2 hits, and coughs out blood almost as if he's going to vomit. Each cough makes him shake even more and tremble, but he just looks up smiling and showing off his bloody teeth. Lifting his hand, he starts going straight for Raditz's energy. The energy feeds off him in minuscule globules, and he also feeds from the Saiyans watching beside him. His muscles are vitalized and invigorated by this power, only making the magician stronger. "You shouldn't have given me such power," he stands up to then grab Raditz by his neck. This is where he starts draining his power as fast as he can. He returns to his base form and ends up passing out from just losing so much energy. Falling down, his energy has just been totally sapped from him. Nappa and Vegeta look down, shocked by the fact that they can't even go Super Saiyan. Goku though can feel his weakened body revitalizing itself and replenishing his energy right away. In just a few short seconds, he's back up to full energy. After seeing his friend so lightheaded and weak here, he knows that he has to take over. Leaping up toward Moro, he punches him once and shoots him into the air as if he's been shot from a slingshot. Chasing after him with insane speed, he lands a multitude of attacks that happen all in the blink of an eye. Finally, he kicks Moro up to then fly over him and shoot both of his hands down powerfully. This launches him into the waters below, and the wave of water that is released reaches hundreds of meters into the air. Everybody gets covered in water, but they see that Moro is not raising up. Goku lands by his friends, but they can then hear Moro dragging himself out the water to soak up on an island. He coughs out large volumes of water with blood mixed in, and he slowly rolls over before raising up. Once Goku sees this, it all makes sense. He's still alive because of those souls inside of him. That's why he's so old and lived for so long, but still able to survive an attack like that. With that, there's only one option left. Leaping over so he lands just beside Moro, he lands a precise palm slam onto his chest. As he lands this attack, a soul is released from his body. Moro can feel the loss of that stolen life force and his eyes widen slightly. This is a problem. This is a really big problem. He is then assailed with a barrage of strikes from Goku and souls continuously fly out his body. As he continues to strike his body starts looking frailer and weaker until after the last strike is thrown and no soul is released, he just shrivels up and falls to the ground. He looks like a dry corpse, barely even recognizable after the relentless combination. Nothing to worry about now. He was a handful though. I reckon we should have gone for your Hakai at that turn left, Vegeta, Goku says. Of course, it always comes back to destruction, doesn't it? The superior power, Vegeta says. Well, it has its purposes. Following this, Granola looks to Tarambo to try and wish to be the strongest in the universe. Unluckily, there's nothing that the dragon can do. There's no way for him to grow stronger than Goku. He's just too powerful and is continuing to grow. It's unlikely that he'll reach his level at any point. This leaves the universe in peace for a little while longer. However, something else is happening, something very concerning. What is this? What is happening? The man wonders. Around him is nothing but a black abyss. It's hard to describe. It's not even darkness. It's more the lack of reality, a lack of something. Nothing. Truly nothing at all. From out of nowhere he appears. Goku Black. What is this? I was erased, wasn't I? I thought I was a goner, he states, tapping down his body with surprise. Goku's body has a very magical feature that negates the power of erasure. Even if he is erased, his presence, his soul if you will, remains and will return at some point in time. As he looks around him, he soon catches sight of Earth that is only a quick trip away. Let's give Trunks a visit, he says, cackling as he speeds down toward the blue marble. He ends up seeing something very different when he lands. It turns out that he isn't even in the right timeline. The revival of his body has caused a slight mistake as to where he shows up. Goku is meditating as you do, but he can then feel a massive signature coming close. Once he comes closer, he can see that it's Goku Black. He's returned. The other Saiyans swiftly arrive by his side in this wasteland as they see him. You thought you could get rid of me? Well, here I am, back again, Goku Black says. Vegeta continues to look up with a completely open mouth. He can't believe it. Impossible is all he can mutter. Goku stands forward because he knows that he must be the man to do it. Now they know that he cannot be sealed or even erased, so he has to find a way to get this done. He feels fear. There's nothing he can do to stop that, but all he does know is that he's the only man for the job. Goku starts off with using UI Omen, a form that he hasn't had to use in a proper battle. It skyrockets his power off rip. Leaping up into the air, the fight is on. He punches Goku Black, who is too slow to even perceive his approach, then gets hit with a series of upward gut punches before getting a clobbering left hook to his ear. With such a massive gap between their power, Goku is clearly getting the upper hand. However, it's useless. Even if Goku Black is covered in his own blood and struggling to fight, his body is growing stronger and improving on itself. Don't you see? The fight is useless. Goku, you should know your body more than anybody, and know this fight is futile. As he continues spouting this arrogant rhetoric, Goku just kicks him away, launching him across the skies with immense force. Goku could feel that he had broken bones, but a smile doesn't show up on his face. He knows that isn't enough. He knows this all isn't enough. The wounds in his body seal and vanish, just making his body stronger. As they continue battling, Goku keeps thinking about how he can finish this fight off. No matter how much stronger he is, the gap between them is closing, and it's closing very quickly. The others below can see this, and Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black is now battling UI Omen Goku as if they're equals. This isn't an issue for Goku as he steps up and into Mastered Ultra Instinct. With this instant boost in power, the dynamics change, but still he is only making Goku Black stronger. As he sees this, he can't even motivate himself to continue fighting. He just flies back a few meters and starts thinking more deeply about what he can do here. Oh, so you finally realised that the fight against me is futile. You were too weak to use the gift of a body given to you, but I took that chance and now I will use it to reign over this universe as its rightful god, Goku Black explains. Things really are looking bleak for reality itself. Goku then teleports to appear beside his friends and gets them on board with this next strategy. They all nod and they simultaneously begin to shout. Goku Black rushes down there with his rose-coloured hair flowing from the speed of his flight. Once he reaches close though, he hits nothing but this odd energy shield. What are they up to? Raditz then begins using UI Omen, pulling back both his arms to begin charging an energy attack. Vegeta does the same, and Nappa widens his mouth to begin charging an energy wave. What is striking about these energy waves is that for Nappa and Vegeta, they're an ultra ego and relying on destruction energy for this. Use everything that you have, Goku urges. This is just before he lowers his shield. Just as he does this, the pressure that is emitted is insane. It's almost like a bomb from the release of energy. As this happens, Goku then gets enveloped in this weird translucent aura of ki. It then grows into a massive avatar of himself that is now charging the energy wave. The 3 Saiyans at this avatar's feet continue growing their own power, and all the energy waves fire off simultaneously toward the target. Goku Black is too flustered to properly react and gets hit by all of them at once. Raditz and Goku's attacks serve to break apart his body while the Hakai blasts erase him. With all these blasts, it is done. Goku Black has been erased. Goku just falls to his knees, gasping for air, and the others look relieved too. However, their relief washes away once they see Goku Black appear in the same spot in the sky. He just pops right back into existence, and they just cannot believe it. The SCP-682 cannot be erased from reality no matter what is done. These bodies, Goku and Goku Black, are merely avatars for the greater identity of Goku. Since Goku Black switched bodies with Goku, the identity for him is now him and not the future Goku. This means that if something happens to Goku Black's body and he's erased, he comes back with his own mind, not future Goku's. Erasure is useless. Goku Black knows that in order for him to get stronger, he has to fight, and so attacks Goku from out of nowhere. He soars down to slam into him with a headbutt before throwing a relentless wave of attacks that end up making Goku retaliate with hits of his own. They continuously exchange punches and kicks, shaking the planet with each connection. Goku blocks a swinging kick with his shin, managing to use his momentum to throw one of his own, clipping at Goku Black's jaw. Following this, he spins around to land a double drop kick that fires him away. However, he only grows stronger and ends up ascending past Goku. Goku tries to keep him out of range with a jab, but Goku Black seamlessly steps ahead of his jab to grab his head and slam it downward. He then repeatedly smashes it into the ground before then growing a ki scythe to stab it into Goku's heart. The stab is truly agonizing, but this is Goku's body. As soon as it's removed, he heals and grows stronger from it. The two fighters continue to battle it out and both climb as they fight. This then gets the attention of Whis. Just what is happening here? He can sense God Ki and senses just how hectic things are on Earth. The amount of energy released is so large that rumbling thunderclouds have been summoned above them, striking down the ground with intense lightning. Their powers just keep climbing as they fight. Each supposedly fatal stab or attack is just healed and used to augment the power of the one that got attacked. They reach past even the powers of Whis, and he knows this. This is exactly what he was hoping not to happen. The power of Goku falling in the wrong hands. The others had claimed to have solved the problem, but the man is back here wreaking havoc. If they lose, what's stopping him from reaching further and targeting the gods further up the totem pole? As much as he wants to step in and help, he is inferior. He doesn't have Goku's amazing healing and growth abilities. There is nothing that he can do to stop Goku Black. Both warriors grab onto each other and push powerfully, simply growing stronger as they push. They harshly slam their heads together, only continuing to grow more powerful as this happens. Cracks protrude out from the ground as they clash, but Goku then falls back and performs several backflips. Goku Black cackles and then stops looking at Goku. It's odd, as if he's just zoned out from the fight completely. That's when he shoots 3 death beams at once, all from an individual finger, and cuts through the hearts of Goku's friends. They're all dead. After that, he lifts his hand and begins raining down pink energy blasts onto the whole planet. They land in cities, razing them to the ground, and even in the remotest places on the whole planet. Even his family are affected. Gohan and Goten are lucky enough to survive these blasts, but as for their mother, she is killed. Their immortality keeps them alive, but even Bulma and Trunks are also dead. The amount of smoke from the global explosions leaves this dark, gloomy overcast over much of the planet. It's almost as if the world has turned to a permanent dark night. Goku sees this and just drops to his knees. He knows what has happened. Everyone around him is dead. All he can feel is the ki signatures of his 2 sons. That is all he can cling onto to stay sane here. His eyes look dead, constantly looking into nothing. His body, his power has been turned against him to commit the most atrocious evils possible. A man of his nightmare stands before him, a demon that he cannot defeat. What can he do? What can he actually do? No, there has to be a way. There's a way out of this, because he demands such. Goku stands up, taking slow but bold steps up to his feet before staring down Goku Black. Tears run down his cheeks, but they suddenly stop, and he continues with his cold stare. I don't feel like saying this over and over again, but I already told you that I am undefeatable, Goku Black states, with his arms crossed. I don't need the world to have any mortals, and if any immortals choose to defy me, they will also meet this similar fate. Just stand down to the inevitability of the situation, Goku. You have lost. You mortals could never have won, Goku Black exclaims. No, Goku sharply states, with a boldness in his voice that has never been heard before. Crouching down, he starts to shout at the very top of his lungs, fueling himself with power. This is in the form of Kaioken. The strain is heavy, but he heals. He grows. Kaioken times 100, he shouts, as several muscles and bones in his body just break apart. Even his skin tears in places, and it looks like he's just exploded. Blood and loose flesh flies out from his body, but it heals and grows. His Kaioken soon stabilizes, and he has now grown 100 times stronger on the spot, and with his Zenkai he has grown even more. Kaioken times 1,000, he roars with vehemence, struggling to even hold his sanity as he calls for this power. The pain he feels after is something that he never thought he would actually experience. It's literally like his body is diced apart in several places, but he is blessed by his godlike healing factor. His body is mended back up and healed in under a second. This should be enough power. His muscles have bulged up from the surge of power through them, and he almost looks like a different person. The aura he has is so tall and powerful that it breaches through the dark clouds overhead. A single spot of clear blue sky floats above Goku as he walks forward. The light is here, the light to break away and destroy the darkness. Holding his hands up, he starts shouting, and Goku Black doesn't really understand what he's doing here. Stepping forward to attack, he sees that he's protected himself with an energy shield yet again. What opens up behind Goku Black is a massive vortex, about 10 meters tall and wide. What it looks into is nothing but void, an infinite cold blackness that sucks away the heat and air from around him like a vacuum. Be gone, Goku roars, before leaping forward with all his might. Just his jump sends cracks kilometers across the ground, toppling whole mountains. His aura flares out, pushing Goku Black back while also breaking apart the thunder clouds above even more. The area is now shrouded in bright white light as the clear sky has returned. Kicking Goku Black right in his chest, he is launched straight into the abyss and the void shuts. The vacuum stops and Goku's red aura vanishes. He returns to his base form and just falls to his knees. It is done. A portal to a reality of darkness that Goku gained the power to create. A reality to hold Goku Black in forever, leaving him to wallow in his thoughts for the rest of time. As he teleports to Namek, the amount of power that he exudes forces the Namekians to bend to his will. He tries his best to keep them calm, but they feel as if a heavy weight is pressing on them as soon as they come near him. However, with Porunga, Kami is revived. Then with the Earth Dragon Balls, those killed by Goku Black are returned to life. Goku then returns to Earth and rushes over to hug his friends as soon as he sees them alive. Tears come rushing down and he just can't believe it. The job is done. With the protector in the form of Goku for Universe 7, true and absolute peace reigns. So that will conclude what if Goku had SCP-682's adaptability. I hope you liked this finale. I added an extra twist at the end and I really enjoyed writing it. Please tell me something you liked about this what if, or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.